Hey everyone, we're at the Capitol Theater here in Rome, New York. Tonight we're going to do some ghost hunting. We didn't find anything with the Giants earlier, but Ben has pointed us in the right direction. He's even had some stories. We're going to talk about those. We're going to talk to Julie inside. She said she has a very interesting picture to show us that's going to blow our minds. And we've seen some crazy shit in our careers popping on, so it's got to be something really stiff. So we're going to go in here. It's late on a Friday night. People are getting arrested. Let's go in before we're next. The Capitol Theater is a theater operating in Rome, New York. It opened December 10th, 1928 as a part of the Khaled chain of movie houses, presenting first-run films until it closed in 1974. After extensive renovation, the theater reopened in 1985 as the non-profit Capitol Civic Center, offering classic films, live performances, and concerts. Paranormal occurrences date back more than 30 years at the Capitol Theater. Witnesses have reported a shadow figure of a man, organ music, despite the lack of a working organ until 2003, whispered conversations, doors opening on their own, and even the sounds of an ongoing show late at night. We started our investigation by interviewing one of the Capitol Theater employees, Julie, and right off the bat, we were astounded at what Julie put before us on the counter of the Capitol Theater.
This is what is known as the Capitol Ghost. It was taken maybe 15 years ago, I believe by a projectionist, but nobody really knows anything about him. He is in older style clothing, perhaps 19th century, which was before we opened, so I wouldn't think it was a civilian or somebody who worked here, but perhaps a performer who was in a show that took place in that era. That's pretty much what it amounts to. That's all we know about the Capitol Ghost.
With our paranormal investigation off to an amazing start, we asked Julie to take us up to the projection room where this photo was taken, and then Ben Hameen shared some stories about his time growing up and performing here at the Capitol Theater.
I said before on the show where it's like, I don't believe in spooks, I don't believe in ghosts, I don't believe in that. But then when you would mention it here, I was like, man, it slipped my memory, and I'm not just trying to work you guys at home, there was a lot of people. I did a lot of summer stage here. I did a lot of acting lessons on Saturday morning for like 6-7 years straight growing up. And people always see a flash. There's supposedly, I mean, that picture was awesome. That's pretty incredible. But there was supposedly a story of another lady who had gloves, and people would see the gloves kind of in the front row when they would look up off stage sometimes. And then I had explained earlier about the seat going up and down that way. And it's an old place, so it's going to creak and, you know, make noise, and your eye might catch something sometime. But I remember another time we were doing a summer stage show, and nothing seemed to be wrong with the system. And all of a sudden, the fire alarm went off. We all had to evacuate. The fire department showed up. They checked everything, shut it all, reset everything. The next night, it tripped again. So, you know, once in a while, some weird, strange things do happen. I haven't seen the gloves per se, but a fair amount of people I know during that time said they would see a flash of light or some like movement, and there'd be nobody up there except for maybe the lighting person. So pretty interesting, man. But this place has got a lot of long history. So if somebody had a heart attack, or there's just got to be the numbers of, you know, throughout the years where that happened, and who knows what imprint they might have left around here, man, for sure. It's pretty cool. It's good to be back here, too, man. I spent a lot of time in my life here.
And you're a skeptic.
I am a skeptic, but I know, you know, it's what we're out here for. And after seeing that picture, dude, I got to believe a little bit more, for sure, dude. You know, that picture's pretty telling.
Awesome. Makes you believe in Jesus, right?
Let's not get out of it. If we find a giant, then JC, you're my man.
Jeez. So we decided to split up into two teams to see what activity we could find and cover the most ground in the Capitol Theater in the shortest amount of time. Big Sal, Chuck, and Jamie covered 2 floors below, while myself, Greek God Papadon, Ben Hameen, and Demetrius Zordos stayed in the main theater to see what activity we could drum up. Supposedly a lady, right? This is a woman that sits in the seat.
Well, actually, that
was Ben Franklin. It was Ben Franklin. It was Ben Franklin.
The guy, I heard the woman sits down in the front row where her
That's
hands,
the white gloves.
The white gloves are down here.
Okay, so this could be the guy here, even though he showed up in the picture. So we're going to ask very general questions, try to see if we get any kind of intelligent responses. Even there might be a residual EVP that comes through.
Why are you still here? Why are you still haunting the Capitol Theater?
Usually women don't like to be asked that many questions, by the way. Just give a little advice from a 46-year-old man.
Are you upset that I'm in your seat?
We were excited to hear what appeared to be an intelligent response to Papadon's question, an audible, intelligent response to Papadon's question whether he was in this particular spirit seat. So after getting no further intelligent nor residual responses on the upper part of the Capitol Theater, we moved to the middle portion of the seating arrangement in the theater to see if we can get any more EVPs. What is your favorite show to watch here at the theater? Dude, I swear to God, I just heard a whisper. I heard what appeared to be an audible whisper over my right shoulder in the direction from where Ben was recording this particular video, and Ben reacted the same exact time I did and heard the whisper as well.
There is some weird feelings.
I just heard a f***ing whisper over there. I'm not even kidding. I looked at you, thought you were whispering, and I just heard like that. Like over that way.
It's more tech people than actors that get to catch these things, because not a lot of people come up here, and if you're on stage, the lights are shining in your eyes, so you really can't see a ton. And it's usually somebody running the light board or what have you will be like, dude, the seat's down. You know, one girl got so freaked out she wouldn't come back up here.
So what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to hear if there was a pattern of a sound, like it was something kicking on or doing something, but it was literally felt like where I heard it from was the end chair right there. No, towards the middle by the railing, closest to me.
If you're in the theater now, let us know. Show us a sign.
Did you hear that?
Yeah,
that was up there, dude.
Yeah, that was up there.
Hear that?
If you are here, make yourself known. Come down here.
You just did that.
No, come down here. Let us see you. We want to see you. Rub Stevie's hair. Do something.
No, I'm getting enough chills, man. You ain't gonna rub my hair. So you asked for a sign. They gave you a stomp, and then you were like,
I want to see. I want to see. I want to see you. I want to believe. If you have the balls, come out.
Good job, Zach Beggins.
Who?
Ghost Adventures. You're provoking them.
Oh, I don't watch Ghost Adventures. Are you an evil spirit or a friendly spirit?
Now, here's the funny part about what you just asked. An evil spirit is going to try to trick you and say that they're either a little girl or that they're somebody very friendly and helpful or somebody in distress that needs your help. You've heard that, right?
Yeah.
Okay. That's like asking somebody like in the backyard, are you a good wrestler or a bad wrestler? They're not going to answer. They're not going to answer honestly.
Good point.
By the way, by the way, you know what I'm feeling right now, which is super weird. You're sweating right now. This side is warm as anything. I'm sweating on this side, and I'm cold on this side. So what, dude?
Maybe I'm generating heat.
Yeah, but how is he cold? I'm cold on this side and hot on this side.
Don't know.
He's generating cold.
He hasn't said anything.
What's it like, moonlight? Were you flat earther? Dude, where were you?
Yeah, where were you?
We heard a stomp come up from up. You were up there?
So was you that just made that noise? It's just not.
He asked for a sign on the EVP, and all we heard was...
We were down here. She's cleaning up it, but she's not making any stomps. Like it was just like she moved.
The stomp came from all the way up there. I heard a whisper over here and Ben, you kind of heard it too, right? Like a whisper.
Chuck and Jamie went downstairs. She was in the other room straightening up, like no big bangs, and I was standing at the bottom of the steps waiting for you guys to be done.
It wasn't a bang. It was. It
was like a thud.
That's what it sounded like. It sounded like the stairs. No. Like just.
It was up higher.
This is me stomping.
No, it was higher in a way, and it was like a footstep coming down the steps. Upon meeting up with Sal, we discussed our experiences during the course of the night, and Sal had shared an experience in the projection room where we had been just before the EVP session and got a completely different feeling, temperature-wise, from that room.
See, me and Chuck were standing up there. I opened the door because it was locked. So I opened the door, and I took the lock out. And it was fucking hot as balls. And I'm like, I'm not going in there. And I shut the door.
It was cold.
Yeah. You get the fuck. I swear to God. Because I thought it was going to be hot from the projector.
Yeah,
I was like, I'm not
They have 2 air conditioners in there at 73.
I'm like, I'm not going in there. It's hot as balls. Because it was hot when I opened the door. And I'm like, f that. Get out of here.
Well, that's crazy. That's weird. We were all amazed at the temperature differences we were feeling throughout the entire Capitol Theater, most notably the projection room, where Ben and Sal, especially Sal for some reason, was feeling a lot of heat and hot air as he tried to enter the room. As a matter of fact, it felt like a push of hot air trying to keep him out of the projection room for some reason. And as you see in this picture here, it was set to 72 degrees and it had 2 air conditioning units in a very small space.
I already don't like it. Yeah, I told you it's creepy back here, bro. I know the camera's not gonna do, but that goes up so high into the crow's nest up there, and
Wow.
Like legit, that's a.
The organ chambers are pretty cool.
Yeah, they're pretty neat. Like the ladder for that's right there, dude, and it is a climb. Once you get up like 4 stories, it's very scary to be up there looking down.
No.
I've only been up there once. So.
No. Come down. No. Stop. No. Hey. What is your... I can't believe you're letting him do this.
What do you see, Pop?
I swear to God, if he feels a touch on his shoulder, that gives me a little bit of a chill.
This is the creepy part in here, dude, where it's like the old paint rooms. Like, this is what it used to look like, all sketchy and shit in there.
With the chains on the back.
Yeah, it's sketch.
Oh, you gotta get in here. This is not.
Wow. Yeah, this is even ghosts are scared to go in here, bro.
Come on. Sorry. You in here?
Yeah, he's really a ghost. Now this part here, I don't know if it's the shadows or something like that, but there's something
there.
It's the room back there though that goes to the organ? It's the one?
This one.
Yeah, right behind us.
That's where you're spending tonight.
Is there a makeshift
Take it,
toilet
EVPs.
here?
Holy shit.
Dan, come in.
Yeah.
Kind of. I tried it before and it wasn't really hooked up. There we go.
It is.
Oh yeah, this will take you right onto the stage, man.
That's some creepy shit down
Yeah, so I actually had to do an exit through, I think it was here where the trap door was, and you would come out this way. So you can, this place is pretty awesome, man. It's got all the old magic tricks and tips and whatever you want to do for your show.
So I'm just saying once again, once I step into here, it has a completely
Yeah.
it's a vibe that's like there's nothing back there, but out here it's chills in a different way, and it's colder back there.
Yeah, it was.
Stevie, for some reason, I'm getting warm air over here.
It's cold here.
It's because I have gas.
Julie, yeah, so Julie needed to hear that. It's a completely different. I don't know. And it's different from when I was up there, and it's different than when we were in the first seed. And when me and Demetrius are down at the stage.
Demetrius and I.
There's your eye.
Got her.
What do you think, Stevie?
I think it's absolutely different vibes and different things. I think the audible whisper was the fact that you heard it too. And we both turned.
I don't want to, I almost didn't say nothing, but I could feel like some energy or something on the back of my arm or whatever, and you were turning at the same time that I was like, I'm feeling this, but you know, it's easy to do like a false positive after we all jump on the same thing and convince yourself.
You start psychically feeling shit. You're gonna put your beard in a whiffle like Zach Baggins.
Yeah, I'll be just like.
But to get that, like, obviously we're going to try to check this later with the EVP stuff, but to get something, and I'm hoping the camera heard the little. It was like kind of like that. Right?
It felt like,
a
yeah. And that's kind of what it felt like if somebody had done that on the back of my arm from just a little bit farther away from that, you know what I mean? It wasn't a touch or anything like that.
We both looked at the same exact seat where it came from, on the end in the middle, in that second row. So just that alone. But we got the Papadon who wasn't satisfied with the ghost giving him the sign. He
Grab your shit. This lady is
Oh, yeah. Okay.
He's just a hater. He's just a hater. He had carbs today, so he's angry.
There it is, Ghost Tommy right there.
Jesse,
Seems we're not.
What would you have done on September the 12th, 2001? What would you have done if you'd been president?
What would I have done?
Yeah.
I would have done a legitimate investigation to find out what exactly happened on 9/11. How did they know who did this so quickly like they did Lee Harvey Oswald? How quick they knew Lee Harvey Oswald killed Kennedy.
Because the people who did it were identified and we knew who they were.
Well, then why couldn't we have stopped them beforehand if they were identified and we knew who they were?
It was a failure of intelligence. Everyone's accepted
No, it
that.
wasn't. We knew before with Condoleezza Rice's memo on August 6th when it stated right in the memo, bin Laden to steal planes and run them into buildings. And more stuff is coming out now also, how much the Bush administration ignored the intelligence. It was almost like they ignored it because they wanted it to happen.
Oh, come off it, Jesse.
No, not come off it. Wait a minute. Every war fought starts with a false flag operation.
You can't, in all seriousness, sit there and try and make out anybody.
Okay, let me ask you this, Piers. Wait a minute. Let me ask you something. How much studying have you actually done of 9/11 other than what the government's told you and what mainstream media has told you? I've been studying it 4 years.
I was editor of a national newspaper.
I've talked
to
people.
Wait a minute. In depth every day for 5-6 months.
Really?
So I know a lot about it.
Well,
and one
then
thing I do know is.
Let me ask you this then.
You cannot say that any member of the Bush administration knew it was going to happen or wanted it to happen. It's a ridiculous thing to say.
Ridiculous. Okay, let's talk about your BBC. I have a tape of a BBC reporter broadcasting directly back to England talking about a third building has collapsed. World Trade Center Building 7 talks for 7 minutes. All the while she's talking, World Trade Center Building 7 is still standing right behind her. It didn't fall for another half hour. Yet they were doing a pre-broadcast back to England that, yes, it's true,
you need to
that
take
this
a break
building fell and it hadn't fallen yet.
If you're trying to make out the British Broadcasting Company, one of the most respected news organisations in the world, was inventing huge buildings falling over, you need to have a break, Jesse. We'll come back after the break and we'll talk about Israel and Iran.
Are you kidding me? This is
time to lay the toss. Time to lay the toss. It's all about the tall. Now you lay it. It's all about the hard can. Wicked places. It's all about your scene. If you can't stand it, it's all about the plans and who's gonna fake it. I am the tall. You don't wanna lay me. Damage control. No way you can see me. Fans all paying. I know they're angry. He's in the pain before Cody takes me. Throw your contracts. Please don't run. Too late up with Billy Gunn. We are the big leagues and we make the rules. So move on up here and dance like too cool. Trying to figure out what your game is gonna be. Get over 4 months in NXT. Don't you forget there's no fans here today. Cause I have the tops and they're going to lay.
greatest form of control is where you think you're free when you're being fundamentally manipulated and dictated to. One form of dictatorship is being in a prison cell and you can see the bars and touch it. The other one is sitting in a prison cell but you can't see the bar, you think you're free. What the human race is suffering from is mass hypnosis. We are being hypnotized by people like this. Newsreaders, politicians, teachers, lecturers. We are in a country and in a world that is being run by unbelievably sick people. The chasm between what we're told is going on and what is really going on is absolutely enormous.
It's like we all know what's going down, but no one's saying shit what happened to the home of the brave. These motherfuckers, they controlling us now, and no one's talking about how they made us modern day slaves. And everybody's just walking around, heading the clouds and wanna wake up to a dead in the grave. By then it's too late, we need to be ready to raise up. Welcome to the end of days.
Everybody is slaves, only some are aware that the government releasing poison in the air. That's the reason I collect so many guns in my lair. I ain't never caught slipping, never underprepared. Yeah, they shade sign on me, they just spray it proudly. George Bush, the grandson of Alistair Crowley. They want you to believe the lie that the enemy's Saudi. The enemy ain't Saudi, the enemy around me. It's fluoride in the water, but nobody know that. It's also a prominent ingredient in Prozac. For real? How could any government bestow that upon people who believe in political throwback? That's not all that I'm here to present you. I know about the Black Pope and Solomon's Temple. Yeah. About the Vatican assassins and how they will get you, and how they clone Barack Hussein Obama in a test tube.
It's like we all know what's going down, but no one's saying shit what happened to the home of the brave. These motherfuckers, they controlling us now, and no one's talking about how they made us modern day slaves. And everybody's just walking around, heading the clouds and wanna wake up to a dead in the grave. By then it's too late, we need to be ready to raise up. Welcome to the end.
Whoever built the pyramids had knowledge of electrical power, and you know that that's the information that they suppress and devour. Who you think the motherfuckers that crashed in the tower? Who you think that made it turn into ash in an hour? The same ones that invaded your own, the ones that never told you about the skeletons on the moon. Yeah, the ones that poison all the food you consume, the ones that never told you about the Mount Vesuvius tombs. The bird flu is a lie, the swine flu is a lie. Why would that even come as a surprise? Yeah, the polio vaccine made you die. It caused cancer and it cost a lot of people their lives. Do y'all know about Bohemian Grove? How the world leaders sacrificing children in robes? Lucifer is God in the public school system. I suggest you open up your ears and you listen.
It's like we all know what's going down, but no one's saying shit what happened to the home of the brave. These motherfuckers, they controlling us now, and no one's talking about how they made us modern day slaves. And everybody's just walking around, heading the clouds and wanna wake up to a dead in the grave. By then it's too late, we need to be ready to raise up. Welcome to the end of days.
The greatest hypnotist on planet Earth is a oblong box in the corner of the room. It is constantly telling us what to believe is real. If you can persuade people that what they see with their eyes is what there is to see, you got them. Because they'll laugh in the face of an explanation that portrays the bigger picture of what's happening. And they have.
Ben, you're looking handsome as well.
We are live.
That's right, looking real handsome here at twitch.tv/Conspiracy Horseman, fresh out the barbershop today from Next Level. Got the beard touched up, got the head done for my man over there, Cricket, and all the guys at Next Level doing things real big. And they said right in the chat room as we kick it off live with the pre-show, they wanted that freestyle. So freeze at ease. Now let me drop some more of them keys. It's 2019 Dre, so let me just play. It's been Amin. I'm on the Mac. I'm back with Big GGP, but this time we're going to hit your ass with a touch to leave motherfuckers in the daze fucked up. So sit back, relax, New Jacks get smacked. It's Big Stevie Cooley's at the top of the stack. We don't lag for a second, and we're still checking. The dopest motherfucking that you're hearing on the record is us, the Conspiracy Horsemen infidels, and that's right, we're back ready to bust here on all the favorite news that you don't even want to hear about tonight as Caps get busted in Dayton, in El Paso, but is it really just a misdirection spot from what we should really be looking at here at your Conspiracy Horsemen? YOLO! Ha 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 ha. Yeah, guys, back in action here as we wait for Big Sal a lot of get mounted up here. He's just packing up the 30-30 and making sure we got enough water and food for the trail as we set out here to, look for clues, point out some flaws that you guys, those bloodhounds we got out there doing the real work in Twitterverse and Instagram, been hitting us up with those first 48 moments of a false flag and what's really going on in this shocking America. I knew it was going to be a long, hot summer. And it was kind of building to this point. We kind of had a quiet summer until now, man. But we're about to get loud on it tonight. We're supposed to have the franchise Shane Douglas. Unfortunately, that's going to be postponed. Hopefully, for about 2 weeks, he'll be able to join us. He's anxious to talk QAnon, so definitely blown up on all of that. But we've been trading back and forth in the Horsemen chat, you guys. So there's plenty to talk about here tonight with my brothers. Want to welcome back to the mic Stevie Cool. Had a great interview at the Bigfoot Museum. If you guys haven't checked that out on the Stevie Richards broadcast, loving it. Great work, Stevie. Welcome back, buddy.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, that was a lot of fun. I hope to take more trips like that in the future and around this way. I actually am trying to line up. If you guys have watched Ghost Adventures, they have a demonologist, Reverend guy, and his assistant that are always on the show, and I'm looking to get them. They live in the Atlanta area, so I put out a message to them. I really like doing these on location type things. They aren't always going to be like that. There's going to be some that are over the phone. There's going to be some over Skype like we do, but we try to make it that in-person thing. I really, really enjoy doing that.
Yeah, I love it too, man. And I love dropping pebbles in the pond and then those ripples that it creates. And it comes back to us to get, these high-level guests that we had. William Ramsey last week with the Smiley Face Killers.
He was awesome, man. He was great.
Loved it. And GGP reached out to the RZA. I sent one out to Dan Aykroyd. So I might bump into RZA actually in October. So I'm going to try and get him face to face and see what's up.
I knew that would have popped you.
Yeah, it did. Popped me huge, man. I mean, there's some things I'd like to ask him about theology, actually, because, everything he does is based around either the lessons of Black Islam. He talks about being an atheist, but then he practices Zen Buddhism in Wu-Tang style. So they put over the Muslim thing as the way to, supreme knowledge, but I'm saying to myself, how can you put all that over when everything else that you've taken from, and even Gambino style, which would be, Irish Catholic or Italian Catholic. So, what is the real way? And I just think that they all have some type of wisdom in their ideology. And that's what I'm hoping his answer is. But I was happy to see you reach out like that, man. Hopefully we get some play.
Listen, Sal says he doesn't see us on and he's on. So we got to try to patch him in on the call.
Okay. I wonder if it's Ordo Monstrum or what he's under.
Thanks for giving it away. That was like the pre-workout thing when he gave the name away.
And
he loves talking to human beings. They're his favorite types of living things.
Yeah. No, you hit him up at Dead No Save on Twitter if you want to. I'm calling it's me. That one was greenlit. Sorry, guys. We try and get it squared away here. GGP, man, how's your week going? Did you have a good weekend?
A very eventful weekend. Hung out with the fam. Got a little burnt. My barbecue caught ablaze.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And then took care of that scenario. Did the NFL last night. Addressed some more hate mail that we got from this one scumbag that we put him in his place, and that's it. So you guys are gonna catch episode 22 tomorrow of the NFL. Looking forward to tonight. There's a lot to talk about these shootings. So that's that. I enjoyed Stevie's recent video in the sauna with his shirt off. He looked very nice, very sexy.
It's just there it is. Free Ben is the icon on Sal's thing, and he is here. Let's talk to him. There he is, right there. Let's get everybody in. $4.
That's
Hollywood Squares. The never going to Hollywood Squares. The canceled TV show Squares.
Never going to Hollywood.
Kept the fuck out of Hollywood Squares.
Nice.
Excellent. And we're on Ecamm Live, and Stevie does a great job there. We were on Russo brand last night with a new StreamYard, and that seemed to work really well too. So I was even thinking maybe next week. I don't know, because you're doing such a great job with the pre-show. I kind of don't want to mess it up, but if I get a chance, not next week, I might not be here, but the week after to get things set.
I know somebody that can send an email to StreamYard and see if they can become a potential sponsor of the show. That's an easy way to save the $20 a month. If we run, the video and even the audio was less compressed. I noticed that a lot. So Ecamm's an excellent source, but most of these services that are worth anything, you're obviously going to pay for it. So maybe 1 week, next week we'll do the free version where it has a watermark, and we'll keep it like this with a 4-box and just use it like that and see
which way we go, and if we have no issues. It seemed to work well last night for the Raw and SmackDown review. So if you're a Russo's brand subscriber, let us know if you saw an improvement on there. I think it worked pretty well. Sally, everybody's pretty pumped to have you back. We missed you last week with William Ramsey and the Smiley Face Killers, but glad to see you today, buddy.
I was sad I missed that one. I was I really wanted to be on it. I had a couple questions. I was like, all right, but I'm awesome. I got to have on the drive home. You get that, the hour and a half, almost 2 hours, and the first half just hate, rage, and the little fucking bullshit Honda kept zipping through with the big pipes. And then as I'm coming down 22 in Easton, he's fucking slammed up against the side, and there's 3 cars behind him and a cop car. And I slowed down. Is everybody okay? And they went, yeah. And I went,
Was this by the Dippin' Donuts in Easton?
Well, that's the thing. I was trying to get off, trying to find it, and I kept looking it up on my Garmin, but it just kept saying no such fucking luck. It was weird. Yeah, because I have that really cool.
You might want to save your Dippin' Donuts ribs because he's in Greece for the next 3 weeks.
Okay, well, hold on that.
He'll come back married.
Yeah. I go, yeah, which one of your cousins are you dating first, I said, when you get there.
Whoops, somebody's packing up. What's happening?
Oh, Triple D's dating his cousins in Greece.
Oh, that makes sense.
Making extra tzatziki sauce for everybody. When it's the only okay time to spit in a Greek girl's face?
Okay.
When our mustache is on fire. Ayo.
Ayo.
As you see, the bumper was up there for Breaking Sal. I'm not sure. We may have a lost episode. I heard it got red hot, and I'm not sure if we're releasing that one or not. It might be too hot.
Oh, wait a minute. Are you serious?
I don't know. I might have a little something to do with that. I try. Hey, speaking of somebody that's made a fucking ass out of himself pre-social media era, by the way, and said things I shouldn't have.
Wait. So I made an ass out of myself?
No, you haven't. We just have to think. Wow. No, you haven't. I just.
Wow. What was the episode about? What did I miss?
I don't know. I just got Iggy from Stevie, Big Brother.
No, I meant to talk to you. Just I had to look after the cats and everything.
All right. So maybe we'll just throw it on Patreon, and all these people can pay for it.
Fuck me, huh?
No, stop it. No, fuck you. I ain't saying that. Stop it.
The show he forced me to do. Now he doesn't want to fucking hear my shit.
I do it. Like I said, hey, man, you need to bring this up like I was producing you. No, please don't.
What was the topic of for Stevie?
No, let me just explain. And I won't say because I don't want to upset Stevie, but.
Earmuffs, Stevie, earmuffs.
Yeah. Wow. I guess we are right to censor. And I never make those wrestling jokes because I feel like they're old, but wow, okay. So I had a moment, a stream of consciousness moment in public where I said some stuff out loud, and I realized how it can be taken by people who have zero kind of fucking understanding of the world and words.
What did you say? All. Please elaborate. For all those that missed it.
Well, I don't want to. Well, if it's banned from the radio, from the internet,
I haven't heard.
Banned. I will definitely give it to Ben to put up. That's all. I just
give it to Ben. That way it's on Ben. That way the heat's on him.
That's the way it works. He uploads them to the Podbean deal.
So Sal, you're basically telling me you're only going to say what you have to say or what you already said if mommy and daddy gives you permission. You won't be man enough to say it right now. You won't do it.
Well, no, I just figure I don't want to upset anybody here. And
listen, there's no one to be upset. Look, you can't please everybody. Just please yourself. That's what I learned.
I just saw
today
a video
from
about that.
first-
I saw a video about that. Yeah,
Gave me a chubby.
It was pretty
Breaking
good.
Sal episode 8 will be out by the end of the week. Okay, I will write the description.
guess.
I was doing.
Will it be edited?
It will not be edited. It will not be edited.
It's 4 minutes long.
What, the whole video?
Hi, welcome to Breaking Sal. Good night, everybody. That's all it's going to be.
Just
Wow,
as Sal is very protective of me, I was being, and isn't that what I said, Ben? I said,
let me ask you a question. Was it really bad?
No, because we know you, but these fucks, man, come on.
But that's my life. That's the way my brain works. Like,
I
like
said right before you came on, I said, because Ben had done the old Sal thing and gave the name away, while the chat was up. He did the old fucking Sal Valente spot. So, but he said that, and I go, oh, that's great. Now everybody knows Sal's Skype name, so he loves talking to human beings. They're his favorite living things in all time, and that sums up episode 8. That's what you're saying.
Yeah.
That if people understand that, then they know. Oh yeah.
You know what? No. Okay. So I'll give you a quick run. Quick run. One sentence. I feel the shorter it is, the worse it is, I think. But the gist of it all, I said in public, I didn't want to be out food shopping doing errands. And I said, God damn it, they should bring back slavery. So now, that being said, that wasn't so terrible. Right.
We all went silent.
Immediately everybody, no, but here's the thing. Everybody assumes it's a black thing or a white thing or a North and South thing. Slavery has been going on for fucking as long as men has been around, of all different races. And I don't care what race you are. I just want to own you so you do my shit. That's all. That's all I said. I said it in public, and I looked around and realized I said it in public. And so whatever.
I know it's gonna fuck with you, dude. And even if they do, you fucking knock them out. Don't worry.
No, I don't care. I don't want to upset Stevie.
It's not upsetting. It's just that I should have screenshot it when you said it. And I got Papadons and Ben's face, and it was like, okay, that's
the thing.
I was gonna expect, dude.
It's words. It's the words of you say slavery, and then people get so upset, and they automatically assume it's a black thing or a white thing, and I'm racist and everything else. I furthered my idea while I was talking to a friend of mine in Giant when I was talking to him. And I was like, yeah, man, just get guys who owe the government money and let them fucking work it off like indentured servants. Bring it back.
Now, see, that's where I made the point of that's a very, very pro-government. This is a great segue for what we're talking about today, because Papadon put it up in the chat. All these things turn into these two narratives that they're trying to push, these two agendas. Of course, if you listen or you watch something in its totality, in context.
Right.
But if you're already looking at it before you even listen to the podcast or you watched on Twitch or even what we're going to talk about today, and you go, I've made up my mind. I'm using the reverse scientific process. I'm using the reverse critical thinking. Right. Because I've made it up, and now it's up to Sal and Stevie, and now today the four of us, to turn around and prove me wrong. But I'm not going to fucking listen to them.
Right.
Well, okay.
No, you've already set up them. I get it. I understand what you're saying, and I do realize what the problem is. But again, and I look at this from put it in a fantasy fiction, and I read tons of it. When I think of slaves, it's not black people. You know what I mean? Like and that's the thing. We hear the word slavery, and it automatically goes to you're a racist. You have to have this. And that's not how I think, but I said it out loud, and I realized it was ridiculous when I said it, how funny it was, weird. But I was just fed up. I just absolutely, and I have no use for these people anyway, so I don't care. I would subjugate all of them if I could.
Well, the thing, I'll hold you a little bit. I don't like the part about the government thing, because we all are getting taxed by the government and getting treated in a certain way. I mean, what's his face? Demetrius has gone through that with Dippin' Donuts for years and years and years.
Right. And I mean guys who have embezzled so much money. Those are the people I want. I want criminals. Criminals will work for me. That's what I want.
Not for nothing, but we all know Triple D, and he's a good egg, and a good friend of the show, fifth honorary Horseman. But, you go to a shady Greek accountant, what do you think is going to happen?
Right.
One, but whatever
That's
it
being
is,
redundant.
but if if it is true or if it isn't true, Reverend quote unquote Al Sharpton owns the government like $4 million in back taxes, and he's walking around, no problem solved. Like, hey, fuck y'all. I'm Reverend Sharpton. Race baiter. So, what are you gonna do?
Yeah, but like I said, that's the thing. And I understand it is a slippery slope, and it's very touchy, especially with everybody's fucking vagina being so fucking puffy and red these days. It just, I don't know. I just get annoyed by all of it. And if you want to get, I've been today. What I was called anti-Semitic again, right? From a dude, Christian York. Me and Christian were bullshitting online.
Christian York said that to you?
Christian York?
No. Christian York. I was talking with Christian York, and some guy he knows from high school who's been fucking stalking him like fucking Kathy Bates in Misery.
Right.
No, it wasn't big, right? But yeah, the guy came out and he's like, oh, first of all, he called me a conspiracy nut job, which I was like, all right, whatever. And then, because ping pong pizza and all that doesn't exist.
Oh, thank God.
Right, well, all that, it doesn't exist.
Wait, did you see that on WikiLeaks? No, it doesn't exist. And Flat Earth, he said I was a flat earther. And I said, of course, obviously, you know me. And then he said I should stop voting. Now, this guy also works for some sort of a government help site. And all he said to me was, fuck you, fuck you, fuck you, fuck you. Go fuck your mother. Stop voting, fuck you. And I said, and somebody went out and they followed up with this fella to find out where he worked. All kinds of fun stuff. Because you know what? Listen, you don't have to agree with me. Don't make me your enemy. And I don't even know you because I'm going to come at you hard. And I did. Came at him real hard. We came at him very hard. Like Peter North?
Low, ridiculously hard. And so find out this guy works for some government help site. And guy called up and he said, hey, I'm a part-time reporter. And I was just wondering, your employee who is a communications specialist is posting really harsh stuff on public social media. Is that the kind of people you hire? And all of a sudden, everything disappeared. All the fun stuff disappeared off of Christian's feed, which was awesome. So we had a good time with that. We laughed about it. But then he said I was anti-Semitic, and I said, what's your proof on that? And he never answered me. But the conspiracy theory nut job, and then he told me that Planet Ping Pong and all that other bullshit doesn't exist, and I'm crazy. As well as then I went and, of course, I looked at his page. He's got a picture of Michelle Obama, Barack, George, and Martha Washington all hugging. Everybody's sitting there hugging. And he has a picture of this on his page, and I'm like, well, that explains everything. It explains all of it. But seriously, like just to come out to somebody and tell you're a nut job, and then to lose your fucking mind like that. I've never interacted with this guy ever.
You can always send him a tweet, apologize, dive, repeat, shirt link from prowrestlingtees.com/.
And he was like, fuck you, fuck you, fuck you. And he went ballistic. He just lost his mind because apparently conspiracy theorists are the ones who fuck this country up by voting.
Oh, yeah.
We're a huge majority that sways all the votes.
Terrorists. Local terrorists.
Oh, that's something you should update everybody on. That the FBI has now put out a memo that anybody that you talk about Minister of Information, you talk about Viva Vendetta. If you are a conspiracy theorist, meaning that if you don't go with every single narrative that's put out by the government and mainstream media, they now want to label you as a domestic terrorist.
So love it.
The domestic terrorist doesn't have as much of a ring to it as the conspiracy horseman, but it's close second.
From the New York Post, FBI. Hey, conspiracy theory extremists are a terror threat. The FBI has for the first time identified conspiracy theory-driven domestic extremists as a terror threat, including the believers of the shadowy QAnon network. According to a report, you can join us in 2 weeks, hopefully, for our QAnon report with the franchise Shane Douglas. An FBI bulletin dated May 30th, 2019 from the Bureau's Phoenix field office obtained by Yahoo News describes a growing threat and multiple arrests tied to violent incidents sparked by fringe beliefs, infinite fringe beliefs. The FBI assesses these conspiracy theories very likely will emerge, spread, and evolve in a modern information marketplace, occasionally driving both groups and individual extremists to carry out criminal or violent acts, the document states. Well, I'm just going to stop right there. They hope because they want to capitalize on every single one they can. Feds believe conspiracy theory extremists will likely increase their activities during the 2020 presidential election cycle, according to the document cited by Yahoo. The Bureau said another factor driving the mounting threat is, quote, the uncovering of real conspiracies or cover-ups involving illegal, harmful, or unconstitutional activities by the government officials or leading political figures. So they said that's a driving factor, is the fact that they're uncovering, the conspiracy theorists are uncovering the lies and bullshit that you're telling us. That's a driving factor. Hey, guess what? Stop doing the MK Ultra and the lies and the fucking Black Ops, and problem solved. But the fact that they're putting that right in your face in this and saying it's because they're uncovering truths, that's the problem.
Well, that's you know what's funny is that on a smaller scale, that's the heat that we got, you, myself, and Russo, for putting a call into Fox to smarten them up about the way the shows are run. And we got a lot of pushback from people calling us basically stooges for trying to improve the show. That's what this is, essentially, on a larger scale. Why are you you deserve to go to jail, or you deserve to be labeled as a terrorist because you're telling the truth. But I'm telling the truth. Why don't you don't need to do that? You can't be telling on them, tattletale.
You can't go the timeline of Nancy Pelosi's rise to success and all of her timelines and say maybe this is the reason why. Boy, you are an enemy of the state. How dare you do to expose some simple truth? And I was going to talk about this offline, and here's what I think we should go. Is we're always saying, well, how are we going to take our stuff and make it into something else? And I don't know, maybe I shouldn't be talking about this on air, but we're coming up 2021, 20th anniversary. I think there's no better project for us to work on the next 16, 18 months than 20 Years of Terror book authored by the Conspiracy Horsemen and the complete timeline of everything that's happened. I think. And then we got something to go out and shill at the fucking alien conventions or wherever we're going to go with it.
Sounds like a plan, Stan.
So, Stooge report on that. But, I mean, anyone else can try and write it, but they won't. Four of us, and that's the key selling point, as you've seen with all of our shows.
The worst part is that whole report you just read was actually about Guido Mamaluke and Tommy Rich. That's the weird part about all that.
The advent of the internet and social media has enabled promoters and Tracy Smothers of conspiracy theory to produce and share greater volumes of material via online platforms that target larger audiences and consumers and can quickly and easily access the documents. As the FBI's National Press Office provided a written statement to Yahoo News, quote, while our standard practice is not to comment on specific intelligence products, the FBI routinely shares information with our law enforcement partners in order to assist in protecting the communities that they serve, the Bureau said. The FBI added that it can never initiate an investigative based solely on First Amendment protective activities. Yeah, right. As with all of our investigations, the FBI can never monitor a website or social media platform without probable cause.
Makes sense. So hold on. Let me get this straight.
What? Oh.
What was that?
The phone sucked up to the thing, so somebody's Instagram story played. Go ahead.
The thing over there with the thing. I got you. The first thing or the second thing. But regardless, we are labeled domestic terrorists because we're expressing our First Amendment right of free speech. But individuals in the alphabet cities, whether it's the CIA or the FBI, have now been exposed as covering up situations involving HRC, involving the Democrats, and basically making false accusations and lies and statements and scenarios go down, wasting taxpayers' monies but they're going to be considered the heroes? The fact that these people who sworn to protect the United States of America and the Constitution of this nation are doing shady biz and going into biz for someone else, and now are coming out to light that they were told not to prosecute certain individuals, helping them use the bleach bit, doing this, doing that, covering up child trafficking and all these other stuff, and we're the ones that are going to be labeled as domestic terrorists? How the fuck is that possible?
Because they're so scared that Comey is going to go under for what he did, that they're just trying to flip it to the common man, to go that way.
Dusty's dead. You can't flip it on Dusty. So tough.
Anywhere, man. Any chance you get to point that finger past the heat, move it over.
Yeah. But I don't
That's what they're gonna
understand
do.
how stupid people can actually be.
Can you not?
When
not?
I can, but I have some hope that these freaking morons and sheeple out there would freaking look at the scenario at hand and say, hey, I'm presented with facts across this jaded, skewed media outlet that I'm depending all my information on. And even then, these
all right.
media outlets are reporting scenarios that are going down, like breaking servers with hammers and phones with hammers, basically initiating illegal activity when something's supposed to go down initially. And what's going on? Nothing to see here.
All right, so let's rewind this and look at this without a criminal activity going on. What Stevie just said, Stevie, Ben, and Vince Russo, 3 guys who have put some time in here and there, have made a little bit of a business, a little bit of a life in the business, a little bit, done some things, wrote some entertainment. Now, 3 guys turned around, called Fox to say, hey, let's make this product better. And the people who are literally labeled fans, gave them fucking grief and called them stooges and called them snitches and bitched and moaned at these 3 guys who simply tried to do something for the better of something else that everybody's a fan of. And they turned on them and acted like they did, okay? And you are going to tell me you have hope for these fucking idiots? These people are a fan base. These fans based on the word fanatic. And they love these guys. Vince Russo, love Vince Russo, sort of. They have 50-50 on that. Stevie loves Stevie. Ben Hameen, he hangs out with Stevie and Vince. That's cool. So,
wow.
And no, but then they turned around and came at them, and was like, I don't believe you fucking guys did that. Now, let's move it to people who are so pulled back, have no connection to the government, have no connection to anything outside of picking up Tad and Jaina at soccer and swim practice to come home, make a fucking mac and cheese, throw it in front of him, sit down, look at her husband and nod as he fucks his secretary, and then goes to bed after watching Mario Lopez say that fucking transgender kids are dangerous. So they have no connection to anything. How are they not going to believe what they're told by their government?
Yeah, but what I'm saying is this government has stooged off the fact that situations have occurred in either, whether it's rigging the primary, deleting evidence, looking the other way when they weren't supposed to, not doing their jobs. It's not independent media bringing it to the light. There's actual media coverage shedding light on the situation, and they're sitting there with facts presented to their faces, and yet they still turn a blind eye.
Of course.
Maybe I have too much hope in humanity. Maybe
you do.
Way too much, because the whole thing of their crimes that you just mentioned is nothing to do with this. That's the real thing of that second part of holding 2 opposite thoughts in your head for total mind control of like. They're a problem because they're exposing what we're really doing, what you just said, to protect them and whatnot. But what they cite, obviously, is the 15-page report cites several incidents, including the Pizzagate conspiracy, which led to a 28-year-old man invading the D.C.
Doesn't exist.
Right? To rescue children he believed.
So where did he walk into?
right? And fired with an American assault, fired with an assault weapon. So they're just trying to bury Alex for flaming it up. The document also cites California man who was arrested on December 19th, 2018 after being found with what appeared to be a bomb-making material in his vehicle. An unnamed man was planning to blow up a satanic temple monument in Capitol Rotunda in Springfield, Illinois, to make Americans aware of Pizzagate and the New World Order, who were dismantling society, according to the document. You know, an unnamed man. So, like, the things that are concrete evidence that are being uncovered, 33,000 emails, server fires, hammer smashing, 65,000 in hot dogs, you know, where's Podesta? You know, the bloodline between him and the rock and roll world, all this shit that is the real deal that we have covered here and other people have covered, whether it's Richie from Boston, Jacob Israel, you know, all along the lines, even when it was Alex and Milo who've been marginalized, we still have to keep carrying that torch because it is getting to that point break of V for Vendetta when they all walk outside. Enough is enough of, like, you can see this headline. Yeah, we just read it, but the Nancy Browns 80%ers are going up. They're going after those conspiracy theorists next because it's a headline. When the reality is they've got somebody targeted. They've got another way to take somebody out on the next level, and they're going to do it, whether it's Crowder, whether it's Project Veritas, whether it's us. Like, that's why these stories keep coming out and existing and shifting the narrative and the onus back on us.
There's two things.
Well, what about the...
Oh, God. Sam.
No, I was just gonna say, what about that guy, bumper sticker van boy from Florida, who sent out the bombs that didn't work?
Oh yeah.
And all of a sudden, this fucking guy shows up. All of a sudden, this dummy shows up. He got 20 years, and the judge said to him, "You're lucky the bombs weren't set to go off, because if you did, this would be a much different sentence." So you don't think somebody like that's fucked up?
And we've uncovered, not we, but we've seen 2 to maybe 3 or 4 stories of the FBI recruiting patsies to plant bomb-making materials on them and try and push them into a scenario that way to make them more of that. But Nancy Brown's not going to see that story because that shit's not happening on page 1 of the New York Post.
That's right.
That's happening way deep, and that's a whole program. That's not just one, FBI agent. That's not Mama Luke recruiting somebody and saying, "Hey, take this shit." There's a whole program that was thought out, developed, targeted a certain demographic, green lights them, picks them to be in a certain scenario. So when things like Epstein Island or going after Comey or Mueller are the real deep state swamp drain, nope, let's shift the narrative like we talked about. And now what's it all about? White power. Trump fueling all of these shootings when these shootings have been going on for the last 12 years nonstop. And it's all to push that Eric Holder gun control narrative. We've got to brainwash them every day. We've got to have some type of MK Ultra mind control trauma-based scenario. And even if it isn't a false flag, they are capitalizing on it. You see instantly off to the races how they capitalized on it. Instead of looking at the facts the first 48, let's make it an emotional narrative about law and push an agenda that we want to push.
I know.
Oh, God.
No, I was going to say, Ben's absolutely right, because the first thing that came out, instead of one of the shooters who was a leftist and a Bernie supporter, everyone under the sun in the media world decided to blame Trump. It's all Trump's fault. I mean, before this 2 scenarios, the shootings went down, everybody was talking about the 4 chicks, a.k.a. the squad, right, in Congress. They were talking about the Epstein trial. They were talking about the Democratic debate disaster, how low it was in ratings and how the Democratic Party's future is very bleak. They were talking about how Kamala Harris's records were deleted as, quote unquote, deleted coincidentally as district attorney. And they were talking about the courts ruling Julian Assange legally publishing what's her name's emails and Podesta's emails, and how not Russia, it wasn't Russia, and then all of a sudden everything has shifted, and then in 48 hours to anti-Trump, white supremacy, and gun control. So I don't know if that's a botched spot or meaning that the misdirection got exposed, but fuck, man, I don't know what other misdirection spot it's so blatant. The writing's on the wall.
just how they roll it out in that time period instead of looking at the forensics or the shooter or anything like that. The fact that the narrative changes, it's all ready to go. They're capitalizing on it. And I want to see that Operation Mockingbird footage of every Fox, ABC, Anchor, whatever, where they're all reading the same storyline lined up on this to show that there is a greater push from somebody up above, whether it's CIA or whoever was pushing this out, that, again, it goes right through like we've seen in so many other stories.
Let me just interject real quick. Supposedly, I sent you guys the clip of the El Paso shooting being reported by a news anchor on air.
I'm not sure what time this tweet went out, however, okay, here it is, at 3 p.m. Well, that hasn't happened yet. Okay, so today is the 3rd.
Did you hear that?
Yeah, so what he's playing now is K-Fox 14 from El Paso, which really locks this story down even more because I thought it might just be somebody in a different time zone. So I wanted to check.
They said it was North Carolina at first, trying to cover it up.
Yeah, but I looked up because you can see K-Fox 14 in the back, and it's El Paso. So here's the news anchor, and there's 3 blondes. I looked them up, all 3 of them. You can see them all in there, and it's tough to tell which one is which. And it may even be one brunette that's on their website, and she just changed her hair. So I'm not sure if that's Erica Castillo, Sandra Diaz, let's see, Kaylee Heck, or Holly Bach. But one of those 4, it may be the news anchor here, and it's timestamped, I believe, 2:37 in the afternoon. And she puts over about the shooting and the tweet of going on the shooting as being timestamped as 3 o'clock. So, and then she says, wait, that hasn't happened yet. So here we have, like we say, we've been looking at these false flags, Vegas, Parkland shooting. You can go.
How many guys, how many have we received about the ads for trauma actors?
Trauma actors, right? You guys are sending all this stuff. And in Dayton 3 months ago, they had a complete training for a mass shooting. And we've seen that with Operation Jade Helm, with other mass shootings earlier in the 2000s of the training goes on, X amount happens. That's the story of the false flag in Boston. It would happen in Vegas. And what I'm trying to do is watch some of these law enforcement ones to see if there's somebody behind them turning the screws like we saw in Vegas with the hand up their ass like a sock puppet and making it sweat. So we've already caught a couple things that are very, very out of the ordinary. This one, the news footage, is the biggest one in my opinion. Go ahead.
It's BBC Tower 7 all over again.
Absolutely is. You're 100% right, buddy. Explain what you mean by that in case we have new viewers.
Oh, case in point, 9/11 went down on 9/11. The BBC reported that Tower 7 fell. And when the news reporter was on the rooftop giving the coverage, Tower 7 was over her shoulder, her not knowing, and they reported, I believe it was half an hour before Tower 7 came down. So how the hell did they know Tower 7 came down unless it was planned? You can't report facts like that. Oh, by the way, the building fell, and the building's still standing erect behind you. Well, how do you know it fell unless you're reading from a script? And who supplies you with the script? Where did it come from? Oh, the powers that be, who own the news station, who also run the world, who also tied to the NWO and the elitists and this and that, the Illuminati, whatever you want to call them, doesn't matter. A rose by any other name is still the same.
Absolutely, man. Spot on with all that. And here it is. Like, people are hitting us up and saying, should I feel bad that I don't have any emotion? 29 people killed. Insane. Like, we're watching it in real time on live stream. And you're just sitting here like, okay, I have to deconstruct this. I'm so desensitized now that I have to just say, can I fall for it again in a Boy Who Cried Wolf scenario? And is it lie hop or my hop event? Let it happen on purpose, made it happen on purpose, or is it an organic event and they're just chomping at the bit for something like this because they have everything narrative-wise ready to drop? Well, it seems like all those things. And then when you look at the simple evidence of timestamp evidence, release evidence, media control evidence that doesn't have anything to do with the actual violence itself. There's a Google Earth overhead where it said stop, I believe, by the Walmart. There's some shot they kept using. But when you go overhead in Google Earth, they all say yield. Like, things don't line up. So how if just these small little red flags pop into place, how are we supposed to believe this time and time and time again, from domestically to the white hats in Syria? I saw new Syria bombings, and like the white hats reported this. I'm like, do you remember the white hats completely making fake footage, pulling people out of rubble? Like, how am I supposed to believe anything that you lead in with that? But I know that's for the Nancy Browns who don't know a goddamn thing. It's maddening still, man.
Well, it's no different than CNN.
I actually got to a point.
CNN faking their news coverage, people being in the same parking lot saying they reported from miles away, people faking about being overseas, getting shot under fire when they weren't, people making up stories left and right, showing people being directed to orchestrate a dilemma event and it never happened just for ratings.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't understand how people can even look at that channel and consider it news when they've been caught with their hands in the cookie jar way too many times.
I just looked up the white hats, by the way. The white hats, when they got caught, you know what the CNN ran when it happened in 2016, and then again it happened when we started the Horsemen not long after that. It was the mannequin challenge. Dude, Surrey's White Helmets apologized for mannequin challenge video.
Caught. Same with, I mean, it keeps getting more and more bizarre of what they're trying.
No. Like, we get all these things from a lot of the guys send us so much shit, and I saw like a minimum of 4 or 5 crisis actor ads that were sent.
Mm-hmm.
Part of my brain actually goes, these can't all be real. And I'm like, these can't all be real. Half of these, like, let's even go with half of these are like fucking internet troll shit. You still have the three fucking crisis actor ads that you're like, they're asking it for Dayton. But you know what? It's more important to really harp on the fact that Trump said the wrong name. God damn it, let's go on that. Let's kill for that.
And when you're saying crisis actor too, let's say that is for the 3-month thing training ahead of time. And this is all hypothetical. This is why we talk conspiracy. Let's say these shooters were MK Ultra'd and they were given a ghost scenario or what have you. That doesn't mean that the crisis actors are going to be at the bar and faking dead. They might have been crisis actors for the people that need to be trained, that they're going to unleash, the whole call and answer response thing. So it just plays to the greater scenario, not like they call for crisis actors, but there weren't any there. That's a lie. You're trying to fit puzzle pieces together to make it all work that are not that whatsoever. They may have taken place 2-3 days before in some black site scenario. You know what I mean? Where you have no idea what went down that way because those cops shot that dude down in 30 seconds. Even though he was able to kill that many outside the nightclub in Dayton in 30 seconds, and you can see the live snuff film of him coming around the corner with, all the gear on. And how did he get all that gear too? That's another question that we need to look into.
Well, it's funny how we can see that footage, but we can't see the Las Vegas footage, and there's a million cameras in Las Vegas, right?
Yeah, right. They got this right on the corner, but in Vegas, no, we can't see it. No.
Two things I just want to bring up to the listeners. Maybe they don't know this. I know we know this. One is how coincidental that all 3 shooters that in the past 48 hours all look the same. Nerdy white guys with glasses.
Yeah, that was weird.
They look like they're clones of each other. And 2, supposedly in the El Paso shooting, I think if I'm not mistaken, there were 2 shooters, and supposedly they're saying that the second shooter was shot by the police, but everyone in the media is saying that no, there was only 1 shooter. But even the people there were saying there was at least 2 or 3 shooters, just like the school shooting.
Yeah, exactly. Just like Sandy Hook, where we saw somebody tearing ass off through the woods. I remember that on the run from the helicopter shot, and they had him in a car. And that was the last we saw of him. But don't you dare say that. And also, like Sandy Hook, here we have, like Sandy Hook dad, Beto, was he a senator or is he a congressman? I can't remember. Doing the Sandy Hook laughing dad bit in the beginning. So, and then the next day after that,
kind of the Texas senator?
Yeah, and after that, kind of became like,
dude, he's a presidential candidate, by the way.
Why the fuck is he laughing like that type of shit? he comes back the next day on the press and to get a bigger soundbite where he cuts a promo on the press like, this is what we need to focus on. This is just making me sick the way you guys are handling this. Like, so the soundbite can be Beto cuts promo on the press, not why is he laughing in the moments after a shooting's announced. Dude, just again, here's the pattern of behavior that we're seeing in weird fucking scenarios like this, dude.
It's the people who the same what's his name? Neil deGrasse Tyson came out and said, this is really sad, and I'm sorry for the loss, but you realize that mass shootings aren't as much of an epidemic as you guys are saying. Here are the facts. And everybody fucking went, you son of a bitch, and he came back and I'm so sorry. I was being very disrespectful, and I was being
insensitive.
Like, fuck off, man. Like, just you know what I mean? Like
that video I sent you today of that guy preaching how every time from his researched facts saying that Trump looks like he's going to do something that's going to demolish the Democratic Party, a shooting occurs. He was going to pull the soldiers out of the Middle East. Shooting occurs. He was going to fix Baltimore or help Baltimore out with the city. Shooting occurs. Because and Chicago as well. He was going to help Chicago also. But it's coincidental how those two areas that is filled with poverty and crime in the worst neighborhoods in those areas, that's where the Democratic parties like to focus their rhetoric on, because that's where they preach, Trump hates white people, the Republicans hate black people, the Republicans hate black people. Now, the fucked up thing is that this whole thing isn't about Trump or the Democrats, because let's face it, Trump comes out, instead of putting blame where it's supposed to be put on, and that's mental illness based off the pharmaceutical drugs that these individuals consistently take, because Big Pharma is the biggest lobbyist and contributor to all these campaigns, to all these politicians. He's putting blame on video games, which video games doesn't have a very big let's face facts here.
I got to put it over, though, dude. I think it's a combination. Everyone's like, it's pharma, it's video games, it's all of that, dude. We like violence. We all partake in fake violence so people can live their tribal bloodlust through us.
So are you guys saying that basically what's going to happen is when you see someone doing a superplex into a Falcon's Arrow or a buckle bomb, no-cell Superman punch, that like the mass shooting, well, it'll never happen. Nobody watches wrestling, so what are we talking about?
Don't try this at home is there for a reason, because kids got paralyzed. It's all of that awareness. People want to be like, it's the video game, it's the rap music. Dude, when you're talking about, I'm going to fucking shoot you in the head in any hip-hop thing, and it sounds cool and testosterone-laden, then you go home and play Call of fucking Duty, where you whack out 140 Japanese in World War II pretending you're your own grandfather.
Do you revive them, man?
Watch fucking Batman and cops are getting taken out and da-da-da-da-da. That is just operant conditioning, and by those systems, operant conditioning to bring people into that. If we had a different society set up where our games were revolved around science, imagination, positivity, exploration, we would be in a different spot. So when anybody's like, blame it on one thing, I'm subject to it too, and that's why I'm saying I love the bloodlust shit, but believe me, they fuel that.
Listen, I understand a couple of things. One, there is some percentage that can be contributed to video games and movies and songs, whatever the case may be. But let's look at reality here. Reality is it falls on the parents to control their kids. If you have a 6-year-old kid playing Call of Duty or playing, Walking Dead zombie games or something where it promotes violence, that's typically a game for mature adults, then that falls on you. If you're a parent and you're letting your child watch XXX movies or rated R films, and the kid's 7 years old or 4 years old or 10 years old, that falls on the parents. That's bad parenting. Now, the problem is, does it desensitize an individual seeing so much gore, so much violence? Yeah. But let me ask you this. When we were younger, this shit all existed. There were movies that were a lot more gorier than there are movies now. There were video games back then. Okay. Dude. But the thing I'm trying to say is that None of us are going to go shoot up a school. None of us are going to do anything ridiculous like that. Why?
Okay.
Because none of us are ingesting so much opiates and have so much of a backlash from all the freaking pharmaceutical. You don't think so, Sal?
Look, here's the deal, man. Let's go back to the Greeks. Perfect timing. Okay, they didn't have TV, they didn't have video games. They had art, they had writing, they had plays, all of which people wanted sex and violence.
Sex and violence sells. That's the problem.
Right. It's been going on forever. They read nice little stories, and then they wanted to see somebody get fucking gigged. They wanted to see somebody go down into the arena. They wanted to see violence. They wanted to see some lurid sex that they weren't allowed to have or, weren't supposed to have. And then when Victorian era came around, that shit got fucking buttoned up tight. Those were the worst offenders of all those things. That's where things like the Grand Guignol came, where people would make gory shit for fucking private audiences. That was like the first porn, and the writings, all these people who were sentenced as fucking witches and heretics because they wrote about fucking lurid sex. This is what they did. This shit has been going on. But here's the thing. You also didn't have guys doing mass murders because you know what? Guys with that fucking mentality joined the fucking army and they served their king and their country and all those other people, and they murdered all the motherfuckers out there. They didn't have to sit around and do a day job where they just sat around and did nothing and then snapped and killed everybody in the village. Not likely. That wasn't the shit that happened.
And the kid that age has been conditioned since he's been in junior high that they said the kid in Dayton was obsessed with school shootings and that everything
right.
that he had
you have
a rape
right.
list and a kill list and
right. You have this you get to be a character now. You get to pattern yourself after these other fucking cunts. You get to look at Dylan Klebold and the other douche and go, they were the picked on ones. We really found out a lot about them. They weren't racist and Nazis. They were picked on. Whatever the case is, but now these guys have been idolized. These guys have been turned into these cult heroes, these anti-heroes. Okay? Who is also, if look at the trend, the anti-heroes are the fucking winners, man. Everybody loves the anti-heroes. Okay? That's the thing now. It's how it works. This is nothing. None of this is new. People are all like, oh, you know what? Kids getting molested nowadays. That's horrible. It's not new. It's been around. It's been around forever. These guys have been doing it fucking lawless. Just didn't give a fuck. They were just never caught. Now you can have it, but people can report every 5 seconds if they want. That's why they're getting caught. We have social media. We have ways to get across the planet with what we want to say and tell everybody what we want to do. All of this shit has gone down. And I keep remembering back, it was like, was it like 1904? And you think about, you're like, oh, that's when everybody was fucking sweet and nice and the milkman came and everything was wonderful. There was a guy who cut off a little girl's head and fucked it and sent a note to the kid's mom.
Yeah, the 70s and shit and 60s when murderers was way fucking crazy with demented people. Absolutely.
Right. But this is 1904. When none of this shit was supposed to fucking happen. None of this stuff happened until the 70s and 80s when people got on drugs and communism and all the blacks and Chinese and Puerto Rico. No, this shit was going on forever. You just didn't know about it because it happened in Sheboygan and you live in fucking New York. How the fuck do you know what happened in Sheboygan?
I will say that the puberty boredom fed by death culture has amped up a percentage of shooters in that young puberty range who think they're entitled, who got it all figured out but don't know fuck all, who have access to weapons. And it only takes this 0.1% take up the world and then push a narrative. Go ahead, Stevie.
No, I was going to say, it sounds as simple as, because people in the chat room are giving some great ideas and some great feedback on what they think, and I think it's a combination of a lot of those things, but I think the basis of it is really like, kids are being forced to grow up and make lifetime decisions way too fast. They're being treated way too much like adults, like the Mario Lopez thing and the 3-year-old getting to choose their gender type thing. These kinds of things create and let's not forget, somebody mentioned vaccines, people mentioned pharmaceuticals. That's what Papadon had mentioned. There's a mixture of all these things that, and there's literally could be something in the water, something in the air. There's all sorts of shit that maybe that's why Papadon at our age, we're more solidified. We're like it's not our era. We still are kind of have that, are cognitive enough to know how to have what they don't want us to have, which is basically critical thinking, common sense, and also willpower, free thought, free speech, all that stuff.
Willingness to not have to agree. Willingness to not agree with your friends if it's bad. See, that's the other problem. To sheeple it up and just to go along with everyone else and say, and you do this at work. Okay, if you go to work and you're a Trump supporter and everybody else is like, oh, Trump, blah, 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 blah. Who keeps their mouth shut? The Trump supporter. They don't want to get into it at work. So you got to keep it quiet. Your friends, all your friends say, I want to do this. I'm going to fucking after school special lame this up. And they're like, oh, we all vape. And be like, oh, do you want to vape? And you're like, no. But then peer pressure comes in because now you're not the cool kid. The thing for these kids now, the fitting in is the biggest concern. Okay? But now fitting in means be the most outrageous, messed up, stupid individual you could possibly be. Because that's what's getting the push these days.
Yeah. I don't know when it comes to the Lens Crafters MK Ultra of them all three looking together and the timing of that. What's the odds of those happening is like a 1-2 punch.
They look a lot like Adam Lanza too.
Adam Lanza
and even a little bit
McLovin.
like the Aurora shooter without the hair.
McLovin.
Yeah. And I don't know if we've heard they were hearing voices or anything along those lines to dispel, but also I think the El Paso shooter had a manifesto. All right. So that goes again in line with what we've seen of it just is a script from some Black Ops, FBI, CIA, unnamed 3-letter agency of putting the story out there. Maybe he didn't. Maybe that's planted evidence, but it just seems like the Ted Kaczynski 101 playbook.
Yep. Yeah, to hear this little putz had a manifesto, please. Like, you know what I mean? And again.
Didn't you guys hear that? I heard or I read somewhere that the manifesto itself he didn't post it on Facebook or whatever social media outlet was reported on. Someone else did. Supposedly he posted it on his Instagram account, and then someone else
screenshot it and put it up
or something, or shared it to other. So who's the other person? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but
I don't know. That's what I heard about.
Yeah, but I'm saying, but now, okay. So let's look at this way. You got this fucking little nerd who comes out and he does all this, shoots it, gets killed, the whole bit. Now we've given him a manifesto. So now he's some sort of a fucking political hero or some sort of incumbent.
It gives his purpose.
Pundit.
Like,
right.
Yeah, he's with some group.
I'm just laughing because I haven't even. I plan on writing an 8-page how to start your own podcast guide. I haven't even pulled the trigger on that. No pun intended, by the way. But this motherfucker is writing manifestos like the Unabomber.
Right. And that's what I'm saying. And then they're going to go, well, look, he wrote a manifesto. Oh, he's set for this. Yes, you're going to label it. Keep labeling it shit. That's what happens. That's why these guys do it. And now this kid has become somebody else's motive. This kid has become someone else's fucking Stevie Richards. And he is their motivation.
Thanks for the...
Well, because I guarantee that he's looking going, can't please yourself. Just can't please everybody. Please yourself.
Fuck, one of the 370 people that watched the video. Hey, by the way,
and they'll just shoot them.
But by the way, during the course of all this stuff, this is what disturbs me a lot about what we're seeing with the mainstream media or just people in general. All they want to do now is just throw blame at whatever that makes them feel like somebody's pushing it. We see through the work of it. Oh, now you're going to talk about this. Now, nobody's saying, like, we got to find out what made this kid or the other kid or the other kids or the other guy do what they did. Like, do some real forensic investigative work, profiling the life of these people, because you know why? Guess what's going to be found out? Oh, this guy happened to be son of a military guy. Hey, this guy was a CIA guy, or they were up at where the MK Ultra was, or this other thing. There's going to be some connection that's 1 to 2 degrees of separation that you're going to go, holy shit! Like this is all government related, or all military related, or all something related, and that's going to get way too close to the truth.
Well, what's the crazy connection there, and I still have to vet this, but the Casillas shooter from El Paso, supposedly his father is like New Age thought and social worker, and was actually involved within 1 degree of separation, so I was told through some of our contacts, to this John of God in Brazil, the faith healer, kept teenagers as sex slaves and sold their babies for up to 40,000 euros before shipping them from Brazil to Europe. So here we have, some type of, when I hear manifesto, all I think of is either Kaczynski or Scientology, some alternative thought of what the social contract says, and some utopian bullshit where somebody is going to be able to put their abhorrent sexual behavior or sociological ethics or psycho behavior ahead of everything else and try and justify it because they got their cock diddled when they were 4, but now everything's fine with it.
Can I ask you guys something?
Yeah.
Wasn't this El Paso thing, if I'm not mistaken, it could be one of the other two, but wasn't one of these shootings, wasn't it rumored that it was Antifa making a statement?
Well, that's come out. That came out first. Like that came out. They threw that out immediately. They've also shown side by side.
Is it proven that it was Antifa?
No, it's not. It's never going to be proven.
If that goes to your, we saw the lady speaking in Spanish outside saying 3 or 4 shooters that she saw were in there, and obviously we only have this one name. And then there's the World Star video, and sounds, yeah, let's get real racist with it, of the black dude. I think he's in like the food section, and you hear the boof, 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 like an AK going off, and he's like doing a selfie promo. Dude, every other World Star video, and I'm not trying to, I will, this is where I could use some stereotyping racism. Every other World Star video I've ever seen, if somebody pulls out a gun and shoots, what the hell happens? Boys in the hood, whatever.
Down, drop.
Down and get your ass out of there. This dude's walking around like, trying to get his shit in like he wants you like the new shirt and shit that he's got on. It just doesn't play with fear the right way. Instead of being down and out, if somebody was fucking wadding shots with a AK 7.62 millimeter in Walmart, you're not going to be like that. And nobody went to the gun section, loads up the fucking 12 gauge and says, let's fucking rock and roll, B.
That was some of the jokes that people threw out that I think made the most sense. How did people want to goof on Walmart and say, that's the redneckiest place? How did a motherfucker not run to the counter and be like, now's my
Texas.
shot?
Yeah.
In Texas, probably the
now
sickest
is
fucking
my
gun.
chance.
Yeah, the sickest gun fucking department in any Walmart would probably be in El Paso, Texas.
Well, also, everybody's that's concealed carry state, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
And that dude in the World Star said, I'm out here, I don't have my shit on me. I'm not strapped up.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But wait a minute. All right, so let me get this straight. Didn't Antifa say something? Maybe I just missaw something, misread something. I don't remember where I got the information. That they were going to do some kind of attack. That they were going to deliberately do something to make a valid statement and a point.
Let's look at everything we talked about in line. Conspiracy theorists are now the enemy. Comes out first before these shootings, right?
Yeah.
Antifa thing comes out right around that time. So are they controlled opposition with plenty
what
of...
What is the Antifa thing? That's what I'm asking. Did they come out with a statement saying they were going to do something?
I don't think so. They did. It got swept under the carpet after that was said that way, and now transferred from Antifa to keep the heat off them and push the white supremacist gun control narrative once again, dude, with bigger numbers. Every time it's bigger numbers, more crazy, right?
Yeah. And then they showed the this kid's listing somewhere, I guess. I don't know where the fuck people got it from. But this kid's listing started out as Trump supporter, right wing, crazy. Then after his, it started out. I'm sorry, rewind that. It started out as he was leftist, changed to right wing Trump supporter. Manifesto got released, then it got changed back to leftist. And there's people that posted him all day, just showing them side by side and going, what the fuck happened? Who changed this? How did this happen? And I don't know where it came from. I don't know what source it is. But this is what I'm saying. Like, all this stuff comes and you get inundated with immediate, like, this is bullshit from people. So you're kind of like, part of you is like, yeah, good. And then the other part's like, how many of you are just trying to prove the narrative as well? So now you got to dig deeper. And all it is just, as you're digging deeper, you're seeing more of the same bullshit. People just looking to blame someone else. Like, this is the negative role. So we got to push it on the Republicans, or we got to push it on the Democrats, because
I feel like they're doing both sides, Sal, because I got this story up from Daily Beast, which obviously is, way wrong. But it says suspected El Paso shooter's dad once sought to help gun violence victims. And this is from 3 days ago. So this story had to be ready to drop. Like, it's so placed to counteract the gun narrative, anti-gun, that even the shooter's dad was down to help gun victims. So this guy was a lone thing. But if you don't look at it in sequence, when this came out the day after, right, of the shooting happening. How would anybody have all this information, like, without simple research could, but a whole thing, if you were going to write it out, why would this be the story that you would run with in the 24 hours afterwards? It just leads to the bigger conspiracy of total control of both sides to me, man.
So it's very similar to, let's say, the Patriot Act being written before 9/11, or even the CNN crew waiting outside what's-his-name's house at the right time when he got pinched.
Right.
Yeah. All right. I'll be right back.
Spot on. You're spot on again, GGP. He's pointing out all the big hits here.
GGPP.
GGPP. He's going to get in and get out real quick. I mean, that is the bigger expose. I mean, the shock value of death in real time, and you're getting to see it through everyone's phone or hear the shots to be able to deconstruct. I listened to that I sent you guys right before we came on air. Somebody was in their car in Dayton, and you could hear the shots and then see people actually running towards his way in the car. When I'm listening for extra shots and extra shooters in El Paso on that guy's World Star video, it sounds like one shooter, but that doesn't mean in the 1 minute clip that I heard, or 30 seconds, whatever it is, that the other shooters weren't not shooting at that time, if there were others. So here we are as the Conspiracy Horsemen again, listening to Latino Lady Promo, who doesn't seem to have any real reason to lie. 3 to 4 shooters, but what I'm hearing on the World Star promo is different. Where is the inside Walmart camera footage? The fact that that's not released and we're not seeing part of that would make me believe 3 to 4 shooters, because they don't want you to see that.
Well, you see, we lost the technology, and it's too painful to recreate.
We only have
only
have the row of video cameras at Walmart in the audio aisle.
Well, when you walk by the fucking TVs at Walmart or Costco or whatever, they have security cameras because they sell them there, and you can see yourself on the 20 TVs. I mean, come on. But I'm looking at this too. Dude, I don't understand this. I don't own a gun. I probably will when we move up to the mountains just for protection, because we'll be kind of in the middle of nowhere. But it's just crazy that the first thing that gun control people or whatever's on the side of gun control say is, you need to take the guns away. And then you say, hey, what about the fact that almost everybody who gets these guns gets them illegally? How does that stop anything? Right. People died. Yeah. But we're saying,
yes.
We're saying, no, people died. If I say words and I say, oh, wait a minute, racist, Trump supporter.
Yep.
And it's kind of funny how all that came out as this is coming out too. That now, if you support Trump, or if more importantly, you don't support the squad or anybody on the other side, you are now aligned with the white nationalists. You're now officially like a half a step away from being a Klansman.
So, number one, can we not put over that squad thing? They can go fuck themselves. I'm not giving them a name.
You want
I'm
to
not
give
going
them
to
a
call
new
them
name?
the squad. So can we not do that?
I thought about it because what are some of their names? Because I'd like to see Dirty Turnbuckle make the gif of the Spirit Squad with their faces on it and like
Shit fucking put on them.
Mikey,
Yeah.
Kamala.
No. What you got to do is
Yeah.
they're on the stage, and then when the fucking simulated shit, which probably Pop Vince was actually real shit on the stage that got dropped on them, that's the gift we need. Dirty
That's the
Turnbuckle.
one. The Dirty Turnbuckle put on the squad of the
And
chick who
tag
married.
all 4 of them on Twitter.
Yep. That is the one. I want to say big shout out to our bit cheers tonight so far. WF, Mike T, Young Shirt, Reverend Smiley, 500, 300 bits, Garbex Edge, our guy Greg Mosier. Buddy, I'll be down there actually. I think maybe Sunday night checking it out. Maybe watching SummerSlam from Louisville with the boys, so I'm excited about that. But appreciate you guys bit cheering tonight as we talk, heavy subject tonight. And it's not to disrespect those who have lost their lives, because we got.
See, that's the other thing. Like Stevie was just saying, when you say and you go, oh, this fucking guy, and you bring up the fact that they changed his profile. Don't conspiracy it. Don't conspiracy it. People died, and they automatically that's their. I don't want to hear your shit now.
Well, even the Lens Crafters pick that we saw of all 3 shooters there from the Garlic Fest and these 2 that look so similar and fit an MK Ultra profile of like, hey, if this is who we're going for, let's get them all. The new pictures I've seen of the Dayton shooter look like a completely different dude.
Yep.
Completely different guy altogether. So very interesting of what's being rolled out, what first impressions and images are, and how that can easily be changed. After 72 hours in our mind, we only remember bits and pieces of the story. And at the time of Boston bombing, Sandy Hook, Vegas, before they really came down on Milo and Alex, we could all be connected a lot easier. I don't see Richie from Boston, Jacob Israel, SGT Report. I used to see all those every day with their version of what the follow-up would be on this. They've totally put up a complete wall between us in our related videos, in us sharing information, pushing a truth-seeking movement forward. To me, that's another V for Vendetta telling thing that they're trying to do. And everybody, when it comes to the kiss-ass YouTubers who thought they were going to get rich because they were the cool kids who were making $2,000 to $3,000 in their videos, and then they got their tits chopped off, and then they were making $13, and they were all fucking crying the blues. Well, guess what? Some of us weren't in it for that in the beginning, and we're not in it for it now, and we're still going to keep pushing on every platform, no matter how hard they try and shut us down.
I want to say a quick thing about the YouTube thing, because I noticed the trend. They must have connected something, or it's been connected, and I'm just starting to notice it. Much like when I used to upload the Conspiracy Horsemen videos, they would demonetize all my other videos, and then when I took them down, they'd remonetize them, which is an incredible, crazy thing. Now, besides the related and suggested videos, when I search for something, because I've been searching for this to research for when we knew we were doing it, 2, 3, 4 pages in, I don't see a goddamn thing. I don't see Richie from Boston. I don't, even if I search Richie from Boston, the channel doesn't come up half the time for me to go to those videos. An interesting thing happened, and this happened before on the first kind of wave of the algorithm or apocalypse or whatever they've done. My video view counts start to go in reverse. Not only do I lose subscribers, but my video view counts now go in reverse. They're not a lot of them, but think about it. If you search for the wrong thing, we're going to punish you. It's a social media score type thing, like in China. Yeah. Now we're going to punish you and take away money, whatever little bit it is, or we're just going to hide it from you. And also people aren't going to be able to find you if you have a business or you're trying to. This could affect StevieRichardsFitness.com for all I know.
It absolutely is, to some degree. And
dropping
being able
my
to
SEO?
Yeah, for sure. And putting up someone who else would be looking for a related video in fitness because you have conspiracy on yours, your channel's flagged, you're not going to come up in there. So that is absolutely hurting your business direct one-to-one. And they would just be like, oops, fix the algorithm, because when it comes to even what's her name from the Democratic debate, the lady who was in the military,
Tulsi Gabbard.
Yeah,
Next president wants.
She was shooting on them too to sue because she got over so big. And this is the Project Veritas exposed. We say YouTube, but it's Google. It's all fucking Google. They shut her down. They took her ability to post paid ads, and that cost her $6 million in the most important window right after. And they just chalk it up to, whoops, our algorithm fucked it up.
You're back now.
And you're back now. Go get them, everybody. When the reality is that's treason, that's election tampering, and every one of those fucking Google execs, they need to be pressured, brought on the stand, and the underlings need to stooge them off, and they all need to do 5 to 10 years right out of the gate.
Wasn't the guy in Congress?
Well, I think 5 to 10 years would be enough to scare them. I think, some pound me in the ass prison would be. I would deal with that. Shoot him's fine. I shoot him if you fucking want. I don't care.
It's cheaper. Wasn't there a dude on Capitol Hill recently being interviewed by Ted Cruz, and he was saying how Google swings about 15 million votes? Who was that? Former Google employee, or was it a current Google employee?
Well, it was also with the what the fuck is the name of the scandal? They shut them down. They were swaying everybody's votes too. Last thing with Trump. Fuck it. Trump guy made it. The software program that will be able to put 3 categories in there, and the people in the middle who are marginalized with the right direct advertising, where they would make ads for all of people on all sides, would target you directly based on what all of your likes are based upon. It was the dude with the pink hair who fucking stooged off. Remember? They just did the whole fucking thing on it on Netflix. God damn it. What the fuck is it called? Cambridge Analytica.
Oh, that's it. That's right, yeah.
So,
here's the thing I don't understand. This is what I don't understand. And this is what gets me just crazy. They're saying that the election was tampered with and skewed in Trump's favor in 2016. He lost the popular vote. So how the fuck is that skewed into his favor? He won the Electoral College vote. That's why he's the president. But he lost the popular vote. So if any tampering happened, it had no effect on the outcome because Hillary won the popular vote. So I don't understand what all this hoopla is about. Same thing with the Russian bullshit.
Well, back up to the debates when Donna Brazile, who basically she's probably scared for her life to this day, who basically
was that Bobo Brazile's sister?
Yeah, that she worked for CNN and gave Hillary Clinton the questions for the debate, and it's completely public knowledge that happened, and nobody went to jail, nobody got in trouble, like Hillary should have been disqualified right there if it were. Yeah, I mean, if it wasn't a complete work, which we tend to think it is at this point, and they just did a swerve with Trump, but yeah, I mean, these are all the Google thing with Tulsi Gabbard is. That's an instant congressional investigation for all the things been said, election fraud, tampering, downright. I mean, that's treason against the process of the election, against free speech. You violated the Constitution too. All these different things. Google should have had a massive raid by the government, but we know Google gets paid by the government, so it's a very strange dynamic all the way around. We have somebody on.
First person we'll be thrown under the bus when they come for us as conspiracy terrorists. Won't be us as we make our getaway. It'll be the man himself, the high roller, Billy Ray Valentine, joining us here, man. How's it going, bro?
Put some video up, man.
What's going on? Can you guys hear me all right?
I can hear you. Throw a video if you want.
What's that, buddy? Oh, yeah, man. Let me get it up.
Yeah.
How's everybody doing? What's going on?
Good. We're
good. Hey, look what it is. Face for Radio.
What's up, man?
Congratulations on 100 episodes. It was good to be on with you in the Iron Realm Boys this weekend, man. Taking it back to where we all started. And, you writing for David Icke's site and having some big guests on. I saw you were in the chat room there. I figure I'd give you the hot tag and run in, bro.
Yeah, man. I just got in to turn on Horsemen, and I saw you guys were talking about Cambridge Analytica pretty much. I think that's what you were trying to get at, Ben, right?
Yeah, I was. I just having a CTE moment. I mean, we were just talking mainly, in the fight back of total media control of what we're even trying to look for in the first 48 hours of these shootings. The stories that are placed where it's a story about the Casillas kid's father being a social worker and actually trying to reach out to help gun victims and this shit to like go against the narrative that we knew was in play. Like the fact that these stories are even there in the 72 hours stooge off the bigger expose of what's really trying to go on here and control a narrative and takes away from death, shooting, it just pushes white nationalism, whatever, against Trump, and let's get rid of all guns, And Stevie, I was going to say, if you're moving to the woods, I suggest a 20 gauge. That'll protect you from chainsaw. That's got enough knockdown.
I was thinking about, like, I know that the Glenn had a 50 caliber or whatever on his lawn.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, he didn't fuck around, dude.
That's strong. I mean, if you're ready to talk like that.
I'm serious. He had that's the gun.
He had a
thing.
Browning
That's
on
the
his
big
lawn,
fucking, just like the Justin Ventura helicopter gun.
M50 Browning. Yeah. Well, that was
Jesus
was it M2HP? He had a minigun.
Yeah. Fuck.
Yeah.
So where are you at, man? Info, anything you've seen in the first 48? We covered that news clip from Fox 14 El Paso, where she stooges it off in a World Trade Center 7.
Yeah. That's crazy.
And, also the pictures of the shooters from what we first saw in Dayton don't look the same anymore. The dude looks different in the new updated photos. Not to say the first ones weren't, but however, how they all look the same. Again, conditioning across the board, shooter, white male, glasses, nerdy. This is who we need to be scared of. The kids we put on Adderall, whatever the fuck it is. Go ahead, man. Take it away.
There was a report. I don't know if you guys heard of it or touched on it, and I don't know how true it is, but and it's going around in the alternative, and it gets muddied. At this point, so many people are trying to weigh in on what's going on and give their perspective on what happened. And we've been demonized to the point, because of so many of these things and nobody died and all this other stuff and the lawsuits and all this, that we have to really dance our way around things like this before we like dive in and give 100% analysis on what we're thinking. But regardless, I always think that people die. At least I like, not that I like to think that, but I don't want to be worked on a level that it's all a big hoax. You know what I mean? It's hard to put into words just to think about if all of this is actually just a huge hoax. Like what the hell? You know what I mean? Like it's something I can't really process. What's up?
Here's the one thing that kind of hit to me that it wasn't. I don't know sure if Sal or Stevie saw this or GGP. You see when Rory from the Highlanders posted a picture of the dude on the gurney, and maybe that's part of the work too. I'm just saying, but like you could tell he's probably an ex-worker from Ohio, super jack guy. I guess he was the bouncer at the club there who closed the door when the shooting started outside, took some shrapnel, didn't take a shot, but whatever when the shots were coming through, and was hurt enough to go to the hospital. But they were putting him over as, one of the good brothers, locker room dude, was in there. So to me, when it's 1 degree of separation from us as workers, that lends a little more credence that it was a real event. Now, whether it was lie hop, my hop, what have you, but that's somebody who's close to us who maybe down the road we may be able to get on the show to get his take on what happened that way.
No, absolutely. And one of the report that I was telling you about is that the guy that died, that the shooter actually, the shooter in Ohio.
Yeah, you can see him get gunned down.
They're saying that he actually died 3 years ago.
What?
Right. That's what they're saying. I got Jimmy Jean. I got to credit Jimmy Jean for this. I just got off the phone with him before I came home and talked to you guys, and he just told me that. And his whole theory is, mind you, this has to be verified. I just want to put it out there, okay? We will never get to the bottom of things like this, but they said that he died 3 years ago. So the identity of the person that caused this is in question, right? And the sister died, and we talked about this.
Why is that?
On Sunday, you and I.
Yeah.
And Jimmy says that the sister died to cover up the fact that that's not her brother, because she would have just said, hey, my brother's dead. Now, I don't know. I told them, I was like, but doesn't that leave other family members that can verify that? So that puts that into question. But that's a report that's thrown in there now, thinking that this guy might have actually died 3 years ago, and they're just using his name to cover up for something now. And one thing I do want to make clear is that just because, these are real events that are actually happening, that's the way I feel. I feel that they're real events, but that doesn't mean they're not hijacked. It doesn't mean that they're not manipulated. It doesn't mean that the deep state, quote unquote, doesn't have their hand in it or didn't put their hand in it after the fact or during. I think these manifestos are all created for purposes like this.
Manufactured.
What are the odds that all of these people that pop off and lose their freaking minds sit down and write entire manifestos and put them on 8chan and on 4chan? Come on, man. I just don't buy that. Go ahead.
And 8chan was shut down, too. Who has the power to fucking do that while they scrub some shit? Go ahead, Sally.
That's it. 8chan. That's where his manifesto. It wasn't put up by the shooter. It was put up by somebody else, and it was stooged off by the owner of 8chan. So maybe it got shut down after that.
Why and how? And that leads to the bigger thing. Like even that Daily Beast story about his father 2 days after the shooting. Like that's not what you should be focusing on. Even though I get it's a propaganda piece, the fact that that's in place to know all of that and then have it written, it's just very telling of a greater, darker conspiracy that could be. Sally, what are you thinking?
No, it's they got to get the narrative over. They got to get it over. They got to find out whose side he's on, because we have to be able to blame the other side, because we can't build anything from this without having a scapegoat to blame. So it's got to be right. It's got to be left. It's got to be somebody. And that's all they care about. Nobody cares why this fucking idiot did it. Nobody gives a fucking actual fuck why this dude did it.
Yeah.
They don't care if he was beat up. They don't care if he was butt fucked by his uncle when he was 2. They don't care that he didn't get to go to prom. All they care about is that the left put him up to it for Antifa, or the right did it because Trump's a racist. They don't give a fuck about this kid as much as I don't give a fuck about this kid. He should have turned it on himself and called it a day. But that's
Look what they pushed in Sandy Hook. It wasn't about the kid. It was instantly about the drugs he was on, and that he was ADHD or on the spectrum, as they try and push all that at that time. None of that's really talked about with these. Did you think that'd be one of the first things? Nope. It's gun narrative and white supremacy. Because they were all gung-ho about it when it came to that, but that's not part of the conversation now. Again,
nope.
Stooges off the political motivation of who may be behind this.
Another thing that, and I ended up finding that clip, Ben, and I put it in the show, but I'm looking for it now so I can play it for you guys, right? So multiple shooters have been reported right throughout on both events. Everybody, and people report multiple shooters all the time, but it was a Fox News report that I was looking at when I was talking to you, and I had it queued up ready to go. And I know if you don't remember, pretty sure you do. I'm clicking on this thing and it won't play. And I'm like, what the hell? And I had just heard it, and and this is, I really don't want to go back and do a post-production on it. So I'm clicking on it. It won't play, right? Go back to do post-promotion, production. I'm sorry. Clip disappears. And I'm like, all right, I'll find it later. No problem. I had taken a picture of it. I'm Googling this thing, and nowhere to be found. Same headline, same everything, but the clip is gone. I found the clip on Fox, on Fox News, and I put that into the podcast for the Fringe. When I find it, I'm going to play it for you guys. So straight up, they're talking about multiple shooters, and it's the 911, the police communications going back and forth, and he's talking to someone for backup, and he's saying, "Hey, we got one guy. We're looking for another shooter." And the reporters just go right past it. They don't even touch on it. They never said it. Just gone. They just keep going. Well, I'll find it and I'll play it for you. But I think that sort of stuff is what ignites these things. Why wouldn't a proper reporter, a real reporter, would have picked up on that ASAP? Like, wait a minute. He just said there was another shooter. Is that true? Can we verify that? And why is he saying it?
It's fine to be wrong. They need to be right. Like one shooter, this was his manifesto. It's all, instead of we have reports of a second shooter, can someone confirm that down there? We're not sure at this time. Instead, if they say that and it doesn't fit whatever that narrative was, where they're actually trying to be a journalist, even though they're a pawn in it all, as we talked about this earlier, I want to see all those Fox affiliates with the talking points lined up back to back, where tonight in El Paso, tragedy struck. Tonight in El Paso, tragedy struck. Tonight in El Paso, tragedy struck. Like, they're going to have them all. They're going to say shit because they're not real reporters. They're not calling anybody up. And me pointing that out earlier, I figured try to call them, but now we're not going to get them post news. But that's something I want to follow up on, is just let's reach out to see who that K Fox 14 reporter was who stooged that off, and see if we can get a quick statement on that to maybe clear it up. Maybe it was some bullshit, but probably wasn't, in my opinion. It looked pretty genuine to me. Stevie,
I'm sorry to interrupt you, brother. And there was a bit of a hiccup in the broadcast, and that was a bit of a talking about that it was the edited clip, and that may well be. We can't be quick to dismiss things like this, in particular after that 9/11 clip that I heard you guys talking about, when World Trade Center 7, they said it came down, meanwhile it's standing up right behind them, right? And it's the same thing over and over again. So you can't look past things like this. You have to investigate them. Go ahead, Ben.
Stevie, do you think this will be someplace where they're going to try and get James Fetzer? I looked at Milo and Alex, and when all the other stuff happened, they came through, got him on Sandy Hook. They got Fetzer a little bit now. They know he's going to shoot his mouth off about this, just like they did the New Zealand one and all that kind of stuff. They came out with a story of labeling conspiracy theorists as enemies of the state. I think that round of conspiracy celebrity is the next to get their fucking wings clipped.
It does appear that they're attacking everybody in waves. I mean, we haven't heard anything from somebody like Milo. And like we talked about, we can't find Richie from Boston. We can't find SGT. We can't even find the ones that are kind of, reporting news in a news type, not from their car like Richie from Boston, but SGT report is in a studio with a microphone and doing a radio show type presentation. I don't know, James. They might go back after Wolfgang.
He's been quiet.
You're talking about, because that's directly related. They might turn around, and if he even says, if he asks one question about this or any of the string of these with the connection to how they resemble Sandy Hook, right back into, discrediting him too. James Fetzer. Who else would they go after?
I don't think they get Max Egan because he's overseas. But
dude, I'm just saying, like they've gone after. Like we literally have almost nobody left to go to for any kind of alternative theories outside of the narrative.
Veritas guy, like that. They are scared when that Iranian girl showed up at YouTube, and that was a false flag. The walk that happens at V for Vendetta doesn't need to happen on Fox. It needs to happen on YouTube. It needs to be the fear. But when they can turn off and commit treason and go, we just turned off your AdWords post the Democratic debate. I don't know how it happened, AI. Like the fact that they have no fear and they can just laugh it off. It's time to put the fear into them, man. And I'm not trying to like more mass shootings at YouTube headquarters, but there needs to be something where they have that our actions are going to have serious life or death consequences in the way we're trying to mold society.
First of all, the More 76 says round 2 Alex Jones. I wonder if he's going to keep his mouth shut. I haven't heard one word from InfoWars about this at all. He will not touch another mass shooting of any sort, I'm sure.
The apologist. We saw him go on the apologist tour post Rogan and all that shit, dude. He's totally, if there was ever any, he's controlled opposition. Maybe he was, maybe he wasn't. Now he's cucked opposition. His wings are clipped fully. And I got to say, I'm thankful that I took his advice in 2000s, 3-4 years ago of don't listen to me, start your own shit. And look where we are now. Unfortunately, maybe they'll come for us as the poem goes now.
Well, first they came for the Russians. Yes. All right, how's it go, Stevie?
They came for Stormy Daniels, and then she came for all of us.
Did you know that's a poem?
Poem.
Let's talk about Alex real quick. Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Stevie. Go ahead.
No, I did. I just had a thought about it. Oh, Jesus. No, what I was saying was, what's funny is, like, Papadon, we all assumed that this manifesto was posted on Facebook, because most stuff gets posted on Facebook or they say the name of the social media platform in some sick fucking way. Is that product placement? Is there a thing
Could very
like,
well
hey,
be,
you
yeah.
on this deal, we'll give it to Twitter. On this deal, we'll give it to Facebook or Instagram or YouTube will get it. Like, I can see sick motherfuckers saying, we want to be on brand with this event.
You might be on something. I think you have a valid point there, because they have no empathy, these people. All they care about is the bottom line. So I can definitely see them doing product placement or brand awareness shifting with all this stuff just to get all their shit in and get it spread out evenly, amongst all the platforms. This way, if something does break on any platforms, people are going to say, it didn't happen on Facebook. It happened on Tumblr, or it happened on Twitter, or it happened on Big Ray's favorite site, Grindr. Whatever, you know what I'm saying?
Absolutely. I think it's Grindr's where all of the mass shooting goes down. But Big Sal, I saw how we're going to capitalize as we move into the next quarter of Hami and Media Group, and get everybody their own spot. I saw a big story on new. Everybody wants a bulletproof backpack. So I've got a couple design ideas, and I'm going to put it out there. But we've been talking about, pushing into the conspiracy world, and they think it's funny. But if we can make $5 on a drop ship and save somebody's life in one of these lie hop scenarios, I'm willing to tap into that Alex Jones market, as he's burned his audience and we haven't. I don't know if we'll be selling, caveman shakes anytime soon, even though it was pretty good, bone broth. But dude, bulletproof backpacks. I saw one that was pretty sweet where you just undo 2 clips from below and the backpack comes up over the top of you. So you have the vest part where your books would go, and the back part already had the Kevlar on it already. So
there's you're making kind of a joke, but
yeah.
And this is a true story. Nancy Brown, who does live, who I do speak to, has talked about it already, has talked about making sure her kid has a bulletproof backpack, because she feels like that'll be the big solution.
$299 starting price point.
Yep. And and she'll buy it.
Yep.
She'll go buy it, because that is how she can go to work and feel that her kid's protected.
Absolutely. And it'll be a keeping up with the Joneses thing as well.
Yeah, the only hope
Like in The
that kid
Purge.
has of surviving is in a wrestling locker room where everybody stabs everybody in the back. If somebody shoots you fucking mad, center mass or in the face, what are you going to do? I mean, what are you, Wonder Woman? You're going to turn it around?
Well,
Jesus.
that's the whole point. You're meant to turn and run. That way you just have the backpack covering your ass. That's
What
all.
if they shoot you in the leg?
I wouldn't stand there and be like, hit me with the fucking AK. You still got.
You won't do it, nerd.
Don't come on my mountain property with the 50 cal.
Stevie, do you think he shot up that Walmart because he was tired of having those shitty Gold's Gyms bands break on him all the time? Not like the Dynapros.
He probably had some Hex dumbbells from the that aisle all chipped up after the first use and said, "This is enough."
You mean the ones I can send over there?
It's an excellent question though. Like, what's his motivation? We've talked about all these different things, and they've already said, "Well, this needs to happen." This. Why did the kid do it? Why did the last 2 kids?
Right. It's in El Paso. It's in El Paso. He was supposedly targeting Mexicans, and I don't know that it shows that he shot specifically Mexicans or everybody. So that's.
No, he didn't just shoot Mexicans. The majority of the people that he shot were Mexicans or Hispanics, I should say. But that's the majority of El Paso, exactly. So he didn't just shoot Latinos, but they're turning it into something like that. They're turning it as racial as possible.
You're on the border. You want to do that. He's the white dude, but then his name is Casillas. So that doesn't sound like white dude to me at all, and he looks half Latino to me. So. Like the narrative that they're trying to plug in there, I would have switched the dude.
McLovin looks half Latino to you?
Casillas? I think so, dude. He's definitely not Ohio white.
Yeah.
Is Casillas a Latino name?
Sounds like it.
I don't know. I'm Latino. I haven't heard
They
it,
all
but
do
it's very
look
possible.
like McLovin driver's license photos, though.
Yeah.
Pretty.
What was that Washington Post article that they had two different pictures of the shooter? One looked Latino, black hair, dark skin, like olive complexion like me, and the other one was McLovin. What was that we saw that post?
Oh, that was the New York Post. They got him swapped, but isn't that part of the greater thing where you just are able to put a stereotype, a demographic, that the narrative is there, and it just becomes another dude with glasses who plays video games who hated the world because he never touched a titty, and now he's got a
sounds like one of us.
Yeah, now he's got a fucking gun and he's gonna go get even because he's tired of Black Lives Matter not taking a knee enough. Like there's some fucking dumb white rhetoric, you know.
Billy Ray, really quickly.
Like the Rosanna Arquette hates herself thing that he sent her.
Oh God, that got me so pissed off.
Go ahead.
Billy Ray, go real quick because he kind of glossed over it a little bit. Like this kid was supposedly died 2 years ago.
The Ohio one, they said that died 3 years ago, and that's pretty much the entirety of the information that I have on it. Whatever I told is what I was told, and to be honest, it hasn't been verified at all. I do have that clip though. I think this is it. I'm gonna play it at the sake of botching it.
You got your Roadcaster Pro ready to go?
Yeah.
Yes.
Here we go. See if it. Of course, now it won't play just again.
Good ribs.
There it is, Sasquatch.
My mic is not quiet.
Keep going. Let me see if I can get this to play.
All right, man. There was one other piece of evidence that with the sister that kind of stuck out to me, and why would she be there to be killed on the scene? Was she there trying to stop him, or was she there as possibly part of it? That's one thing that's strange to me. Or was she out with somebody and he showed up and was angry about it, and it was a revenge shooting and really has nothing to do with anything else like that? The fact that he murked his sister on the street and that she was there is a weird part of it to me.
Yeah.
No, it's incredibly weird that she had anything to do with it. You guys talked about Alex. I wanted to talk about Alex real quick. Just because you're never going to hear anything like that come out of Alex ever again. You know, and you can make the argument that Alex was compromised from the very beginning, and that's not to discount the information that he gave. So the reason I'm here, I think it's the reason a lot of you guys are here. Sure. We all listen to Alex Jones and what he put out, right? And a lot of that stuff is legitimate, and we can check, and it was truthful. But was he controlled opposition from the beginning? He completely flipped the script. We're looking at now they're coming out against conspiracy theorists saying that we're the terrorists, right? But in particular, they came out against QAnon, and I think that is telling. Not because QAnon is the real deal, but because of the deeper work, in my opinion. SGT report, right? We don't see SGT report come up in the searches at times when we're doing stuff, but SGT report has a massive audience, like 200K subscribers, and they got that way for a lot of different reasons, but they're heavy on the Q. They're big Q believers, big Trump supporters, and they're riding that wave.
Look at all the Q things now, and this is why we may have these, because we were hot on Epstein with the Stooge report, and then all this shit comes out as a misdirection. But Q was talking all this stuff, you know, with Epstein, and I'm sure you can go back and find even more on the trail. And now all that shit is out of the news cycle when it should be the absolute main thing that's going down. So that's the real bigger overall, if you buy into it all, conspiracy of why these things are happening, some MK Ultra mass shootings. So the news cycle has changed, and those who are really in power, like Comey, like Mueller, like Clinton, who are all about to get stooged on, their names aren't in the forefront right now.
Yeah, I think I got this clip to work.
Of that location we expect to be revealed by the authorities when they do another briefing at the top of the next hour. There is some discussion that is a residence of at least one of the people from that family, possible residence of the gunman. Meantime, what we have is a window into the panic moments minutes after the gunfire started ringing out here in the Oregon district, and we get that through police radio dispatches.
Multiple shots fired. Downtown, multiple shots fired. 8:30 dispatch. We got shots fired. We got multiple people down. We're going to need multiple medics.
I got everybody coming to you.
We think there's one shooter He is down. We're looking for a second shooter. Once we
You heard that, right?
Yeah.
We're looking for a second shooter. Now, I'm looking at this right now. I guess I'll send this over to you guys, and you can put it in the show notes. I'm looking at it right now, and in the verbiage that they put to describe what the guy is saying, they don't say anything about the second shooter. Glass right over it. But on top of that, they're not even going to address it. Like, pay attention here. They're not even going to address it afterwards.
clear this. Behind that Peppers, you need to get the medics in here. They're coming.
People who were out enjoying the nightlife, 1 a.m. on Saturday night, said they heard gunshots, saw people running, shouting active shooter. Soon they saw people lying on the ground.
I ain't gonna never get those sounds out my head of just the gunshots and then the people screaming and the trampling and just the fear.
Police have confirmed that the gunman was carrying a rifle, an AR-15. He was wearing body armor, and he carried with him a surplus of magazines filled with ammunition. He was only active for 11 minutes, according to police in this case, but still he was able to kill 9, injure 27. Rob, back to you.
Yeah, but we don't know how many lives police saved by being so fast on that scene. Mike, what is happening? Seen a shooting today. Obviously, this is in the heart of Dayton, Ohio.
It is right in the heart of Dayton.
That's it, and they never touch on it again.
We got Baker Mayfield at training camp. Let's go to training camp right now for the Browns.
They never touch on it again. Nope. They want to talk about everything but that. And this is why people think the way we think and people do what we do. Because they're not doing it. The people that get paid to do this, the people that we look at as being part of the mainstream media, the real news, right, that's supposed to provide this stuff for us, just gloss over a very, very important piece of information that I think it's one-on-one for any reporter to pick up on. That not only do they gloss over it, they go out of their way to not emphasize it in the written description of what's going on. And that's it. They don't even talk about it. Just keep going. Don't worry about it. Nothing to see here. Go ahead.
I mean, that's where we are. Even when you have the real time, is there a second shooter on every scenario, and the stooge reports of it happening, and then the real time of people inside the place itself, like the guy in El Paso on the World Star video. It just doesn't line up narrative wise. The Google Earth overlays. And here we are in another scenario with people dead where we have to ask questions about logistics because that's how we've deconstructed the Diary of a False Flag. And that's just where we are, unfortunately, at this point, to be unempathetic, where we're past the thoughts and prayers line, where we're ribbing about it. And then people are having visceral reactions, like I said, my mentors in Chicago, to these people being killed when 84 people were killed on the South Side that same fucking weekend. It's a total mind control psyop any way you cut it, victims and shooters aside at the end of the day. That's really what's feeding this machine. How do we interrupt that? How do we stop that ball rolling? Because copycats or impersonations or other black ops are just going to keep happening until it's really exposed for what it is by somebody. Unfortunately, Fox News is going to say it. Sales had enough.
Yeah.
What happened there?
No, you have to take care of something.
All right. Because that sucks. Because I wanted to pitch to him on our next story that you might have seen because we were ribbing Sal earlier about wanting to reinstate slavery in his own way, not necessarily for any one race, just for someone to do all of his chores for him. But he may get his wish because approved in China, which means it's already happened, done, and grown. Chimpanzees to be bred with humans in a chimera format for not necessarily breeding, but test tube, and then I'm sure right after that cloned once they're happy with the result of what they have. So here we have an exact Planet of the Apes scenario, Stevie.
Well, or man bear pig type form that Al Gore had way back in the day.
Sure.
What did we do? And this is where I'll throw it over to Poppin' On and then Billy Ray. I know Sal's all into that. Do you guys love that transhumanism stuff or trying to expand science? But this kind of stuff, man. This is cryptid creating type shit. Like people that don't believe in Bigfoot and other animals and everything, whether it's in a forest or in an ocean. This is where governments and these people in these labs test stuff. One of the most popular shows right now is The Boys on Amazon Prime.
Yeah.
That's basically not even a government one, a corporate experiment to try to create superheroes using drugs. So this kind of gene splicing or genetic modification is just, I mean, it could be at the core of what we talked about before. Maybe our genes and our DNA is being manipulated to where people are just so different today than even when we grew up. There could be some shit going on there. They're creating hybrids of idiots with super idiots. Where people are...
No, it's complete lunacy. This is complete lunacy. We have no idea what we're doing, and it doesn't make sense in anybody's brain. Apparently in somebody's brain, because they're doing this. Planet of the Apes, you want to weaponize animals. You want to weaponize apes now, just like you want to weaponize artificial intelligence. People talk about the weaponizing of artificial intelligence. And I remember Gordy Rose, there was an interview. He was recently on TFR, a host had him on. And Gordy Rose says, hey, I want to wash my hands of the weaponizing of artificial intelligence. And I'm sitting there like throwing stuff at my computer, be like, you idiot, you've already weaponized artificial intelligence. Anytime you give something intelligence, it's weaponized because they can use that intelligence against you. And what we're trying to do is make them to our level, if not beyond our level. You think they're not going to do that with these apes? If they haven't already, these are mad scientists, literally to the definition of the word. They're mad scientists. These people are completely insane. And they're messing with the livelihoods of every single person on this earth by doing what they're doing, and they don't give a damn. And they're given free range to do this stuff, to freaking create animal hybrids, right? There's nothing new under the sun, just like it says in the Bible, right? This happened way back in the day when the Nephilim came down, right? And they created a hybrid race. Well, here, what are we doing right now? We're doing the same exact thing, and it's going to lead to the ultimate downfall. Whether you believe in the Bible or not, the correlation is there, right? It's going to lead to the ultimate downfall of mankind. We are really screwing. We're barking up the wrong tree here. We're not supposed to be doing stuff like this. Go ahead.
Never heard of that book. What book is that?
The what? What's that?
You said
the Bible?
What book?
Never heard of it?
No, I never heard of it.
Oh, man. Sucks for you, bro. I'll throw it your way.
Well, if you're going ancient alien theory, I mean, God creating man in his own image is possibly Anunnaki gene splicing to create us doing that. So if man wants to become God, or if we are gods and we say that, it wasn't too long before we started doing the same shit and pushed ourselves to that way. The front story of it all, of growing a ear on a rat's back or growing a new liver inside of a pig for a human, might seem all well and nice, but until I see liver transplants that are 100% and that's exactly what they're using them for, it's for some far more fucked up military. Let's extract some super ape gene and put it into fucking, Vladimir Kozlov and make him a fucking Russian super soldier.
I was going to say super soldiers. This is what they're doing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Admitted. Yeah.
Listen,
it's
man.
Absolutely admitted. Go ahead. Sorry.
This is just the making of bad booking. This is just as bad as WWE Creative. And what I'm saying is, you're going to get the DNA of, let's say, a silverback gorilla spliced out with a human. A silverback gorilla is 10 times as strong as a natural human. So what you're doing right now, you're giving something that's more powerful than an individual intelligence, higher intelligence. And when they grow up and they get tired of getting prodded with and messed with, they're going to revolt. And when they revolt, what happens? It's the same scenario. Like we said, Planet of the Apes. Some fucking dumb scientist a couple years ago decided to splice human and pig genomes and DNA and make the first hybrid pig human. Why? For what fucking reason? You guys want to make organs? You guys can 3D print them. You guys already proved that. So fucking print them. If they last half-life of 5-10 years as opposed to lasting 50 years, so what? What's the point of this? You want to bring dinosaurs back by extracting dinosaur DNA? What are you, fucking nuts? You want to bring a 30-foot Tyrannosaurus Rex back to life so it can crush people and towns like Godzilla. Where the fuck is? I mean, I don't see the fucking the insightfulness of making something like this. It doesn't make any goddamn sense.
Yeah, and they always play through the guise of, oh, it's going to help some kid who needs a liver transplant.
Oh, you know what might help a kid that needs a liver transplant? How about no fucking GMOs in our food? How about you don't fucking put what's that shit they put in toothpaste in our water?
Fluoride.
You know, fluoride.
Yeah.
You know, why not just keep everything natural? Oh, guess what? You want to help something? Why don't you try to find the cure to cancer or diabetes instead of wasting millions of dollars on getting fucking moths high on acid and studying the mating rituals like fucking what's his name from Texas said they spent money on
Alex Jones.
The other dude, the fucking presidential candidate that never got a fair shake. Ron Paul.
Paul.
Yeah. Ron and Rand Paul dropping the dime and stooging off that the government spends millions of dollars on the mating rituals of moths while they're high on LSD or ecstasy. Like, what the fuck's that going to benefit us? Like, realistically, you could have used that money to help a child somewhere, you know, in a hospital who's sick, or help the poor, or build homes. I mean, from what I understand, L.A. and San Francisco now is infested, and I'm using the word infested, with homeless people and crackheads and heroin addicts who are shitting in the streets. And now they're having fucking all these fucking weird diseases coming back over there in L.A. My cause is sending me shit left and right. Shout out to my cause. And it's ridiculous. I've seen video evidence of these people basically saying that they're living on the streets like rodents. You know what I'm saying? Even the rodents won't even
Black
touch
plague might be coming back to California.
Yeah.
Yep.
How ridiculous is that?
Or the same way of like the Black Plague isn't coming back because of that. It's because it'll be injected into them for population control. Same with Lyme disease out of Long Island and putting the ticks, all genetically engineered shit to fucking take out populations, man. When it comes to the Chimera hybrid stuff, dude, I just don't see anything else for it except for the fact that there's some nerds who loved Planet of the Apes, who love Jurassic Park, and they're just going to push that shit. They can't use, like you said, for great healing purposes. Instead, this is where we're going for no apparent reason whatsoever.
Even though he's on the apology tour, if you can find it, look at the old Alex Jones stuff, much like what we say all the time. As each day goes by, Alex Jones and David Icke seem less crazy. Alex Jones was talking about all this other shit, and then Papadon just brought up the moths. What, you don't think there's an experiment or a lab saying, hey, let's see if we can turn the frogs gay? Like, just to do it. Like, of course it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make any more sense than giving moths LSD to see how they fuck. It doesn't make any more sense than saying, hey, let's see if we can put
a water supply.
Yeah.
They put it in the water supply in St. Louis.
Yeah. Let's wait. It didn't happen because wish Sal was here to click on the link and check to see if it's true.
I'll do it right now.
They do it right now. What's the answer?
Hold on.
So did they do that?
I don't know what language. It might be Spanish that they put the answer in, but it says no.
Okay, we checked Snopes.
So, but I'm saying really quickly too that this whole thing with the chimpanzees, or Japan was also doing a cross DNA breeding as well, right? Like GGP said, what benefit is this to mankind? Just like AI. AI is designed to make our lives easier, but then Elon Musk is one that's almost crying on Joe Rogan saying that, man, that's the biggest thing that I'm afraid of. Then that motherfucker shuts his mouth 8 months later, like it's not the biggest problem anymore? Or did you get paid? People can't put one and one together to see that. What is it going to do besides create? I mean, the only way you're going to be able to help liver transplants is if the chimpanzee super soldier rips my liver out and gives it to GGP because he's so strong. There's a liver transplant. I guess it helps.
How about the other one that was a couple weeks ago, kicking around robotic T-2000 type soldiers that can feed on the battlefield off of human waste and remains? They just fucking do the what's the thing in Back to the Future 2, Mr. Fucking Fusion, right? He puts the fucking banana peels and shit in there. Eat the bodies, fucking wood chipper them up, and keep on going to war.
Wow, man. Wow. With Elon Musk, right? We're talking about Elon, his punk ass, right? So he turns around and he says, just like Stevie said, hey, listen, I'm afraid of AI. AI is the biggest problem. Meanwhile, beforehand, he's funding and pushing the AI. He says this, and then he goes full on with it, right, with the Neuralink. Now they have admitted, now, I mean, we've known this for a bit, right? So all of this is just now coming out as admitted by the mainstream, which means they've been doing it for years. Now there's this program that it'll read your thoughts, and you can speak it into Facebook that way. That way you don't have to type it. Facebook will read your thoughts, and whatever you're thinking is going to materialize on the screen. Convenience.
Well, that's already happened with the ads when you're thinking something that you haven't even typed in.
Yeah.
That's
scary. And then boom, it shows up.
And we've seen stories with Alexa and Skype this week of people at Microsoft may actually be listening to your complete calls for Skype and Alexa. Now you can opt out to have people at Alexa not listen to you have sex. Oh, well, fuck
out of here.
What's one of the most heard conversations on Alexa? Drug deals.
Wow.
Yep. Fucking dude. So everything is fucking going down like where it was like, no, it's just fun because it plays the song I want in the morning while I make my coffee. It's fucking listening to you jerk off in the bathroom.
It is.
Listen, smack your fucking kids around. It's listening to all of it, dude. It's all being quantified to NSA headquarters. If you think it's not.
Do you think how that JP Morgan cruiser ship with 50 tons of cocaine got caught because of Alexa?
Yeah. Alexa, where's my blow?
That was a mistake, right? And you don't hear anything about it anymore. It's all good. No, we're building a wall that's going to stop the drugs from coming in. Meanwhile, JP Morgan Chase is bringing in tons and tons and tons of it, and nothing happens. It's all good. It's all good. Nothing to worry about. Let's just keep moving like that shooter situation, right? No, we didn't see another shooter. Come on, let's keep it moving.
Listen, it all boils down to one thing, and I'm always going to say this because this is the way I'm wired. It all comes down to money. And basically what I mean by that is the wars, the industrial military complex, the military industrial, all that stuff is all diversions. It's all distractions because at the end of the day, our currency is worth shit. And we're trying to distract everybody from the reality of the fiat currency called the US dollar. And if we have a boogeyman over here, and we make all the bullets and the tanks and the guns over here, and we could supply everybody to fight this boogeyman, then everybody's too occupied to realize that, hey, we overstretched ourselves with this fractional banking system that we have, and we're lending out our money 10 to 1, 100 to 1, and we're tying it to the oil system because we really don't have anything to bank our currency, and we have the Federal Reserve raping us, making us money by keeping us in debt. If people just wake up and realize that all of this stuff, if it got cleared up, if there wasn't any more wars, there wasn't an industrial military complex, there wasn't a Federal Reserve to make money off of us in debt, and we put our money behind something that's actually valuable, guess what? I guarantee you 95% of the problems in this world would disappear. And that 1% will marginalize, maybe get strung up and hung out there, and the rest of the world would be a much happier and safer and better place. And that's the bottom line.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right, Pop. Ben, give me a second, right? I want to take it a step further than what Pop said, right? So the military-industrial complex, right? And that's what every president is subservient to, right? So even if you're a Trumper or if you are an Obamaite or a Clintonite, they're all subservient to the military-industrial complex because the agendas continue, right? All the invasions of all these other countries, all the drug running, everything, it continues. So Dwight D. Eisenhower, right? He was the one that hit us with the military-industrial complex speech that's so famous that everybody knows, right? But if you continue on listening to, I'm pretty sure it was the same speech. Don't quote me on it, but regardless, he talks about the technocrats, the technocratic elite, and how we need to concentrate on that too. So what's going on here now? Actually, it's not now. It's gone on for quite some time, but it's just coming to fruition right now that we are noticing it to the point where it's undeniable, is that the military-industrial complex has merged with the technocratic elite, coming together, military, doing technology experiments like super soldiers, all this stuff. They merged this. This is the new world order. That is what we're looking at, right? All these think tanks, all this other stuff. This is the end game. The military industrial complex, go to the technocratic elite, merge it together. We are prisoners and we ask for the prison. We ask for it. We ask for this technology to be given to us like Alexa because it's so damn convenient and cool, right? Or our cell phones and whatever. Now we have this this laser that can read our signatures, our heartbeat, right? There's that. There's our thoughts can be read now. They can read our thoughts, or they can implant ideas into our mind and little messages into our mind now. This is the military industrial complex using the technology to imprison us. And we are allowing this to happen willingly. We're surrendering our freedoms over in this way.
Well, the quote
this is the new world order.
The quote is great about the prison, if you remember that, Billy Ray.
What's that, sir?
The quote from David Icke about the prison that we live in now is the best. That was I forget. He was talking about 5G, but I don't know the exact quote. Maybe you do.
Did he tell you the quote before you picked up his laundry?
Would you like to come with me next time?
Yes, I would, actually.
Man.
Come on, it was just a joke.
David Icke runs a wrestling promotion over in England, popping on.
I'm there.
Be careful. Well, he basically said prisons used to be locked in, but now we're basically accepting of the prison that has no bars. I'm paraphrasing his thing. We don't see the prison, but we're creating the prison voluntarily.
So Max Egan, that's the one I'm going to quote. I don't remember the David Icke quote in particular. I'll go back and get it. But Max Egan says we're not free, we're free range. And that's perfect. We are free range chickens running around thinking that we're free, but we're going to be slaughtered at any moment because we are bought and paid for. Makes perfect sense to me. Go ahead, Stevie.
No, I agree with that.
I was going to just go back quick to the AI talk that we had. So somebody else who flipped when it comes to the Google Veritas stuff is not needs to be trusted. But Elon Musk, how crazy he was with the AI shit and warning everybody Facebook and that's going to Google and whatnot. And then, boy, they just turned the key on him and he's talking brain implants for upload. He's got his crazy ass whacked out puppet looking girlfriend who's cutting her eyelids off and putting some polymer in there to block out blue light and shit. Like very she did. Yeah. Right. So here's like somebody who has a warning and then 2 months later is saying, fuck it, upload shit to your brain. It's awesome.
Yeah. Listen, that's because the original the version of Elon Musk that was warning us is now in a car in a suit going around this planet, while the clone version 666 or whatever of Elon Musk is now doubling down on this AI brain implant nonsense.
I can't see anything else aside from him already being a transhumanist android that would allow him to switch thoughts like that, where somebody can fucking just, like you said, that put a thought in your head or fucking you're automatically hooked up, man.
You know, I was listening to not to cut you off, Ben, I'm sorry if you were mid-sentence. I was listening to a very prominent and fresh podcast. It was Mint. I'm going old school here with the verbiage. This week, it was a guy, he was interviewing this guy in a Bigfoot museum. Okay, very good podcast. I believe it was called the Stevie Richards Broadcast, episode 2. Very informative, very well done. Now, there was something said in that podcast that triggered me. Not in a negative way, but it just made me go, "Arr!" like Scooby-Doo. Yeah. Right? The famous picture of Bigfoot, of him turning around where he's like 3/4, walking by from the film. The owner of the museum said it best. Anything digital can be faked. This is a photograph from back in the day. They didn't have the technology present in the public sector to where people can Photoshop this or make it up or whatever the case may be, doctor it and make it a composite image like NASA does. It's a picture. It can't be faked. Well, case in point, we're surrendering ourselves to technology, whether it's no more cassette tapes, no more vinyl, no more 8-tracks, no more VHS, no more DVDs. Everything is being put on digital so we can save space, make it efficient. What's going to happen when they do that to our currencies. They already have our pictures. What happens when they take our currency digital? What happens when they take our memories digital?
Currency is way more digital than it is analog already.
Yeah.
Well, you're right. But what I'm saying is when it's fully transparently digital and there's no hard currency anymore or anything, our records, everything on an RFID chip and every aspect way of life is digital out there. It could be fake. It could be doctored. It could be hacked. So case in point, why do it? Why surrender yourself to this? You know what? Unfortunately, Sal's not here. He had a meeting with CERN. I don't know. But Case, he says it all the time. Fuck yeah, I want to be half human, transhumanistic. I want to have an RFID chip so I can be convenient. And hell yeah, it's cool as fuck. You know what? He's a sci-fi nerd, so am I. But at the same time, I don't give up the controls of my life to somebody else. I mean, technically, we all are controlled by one aspect or another. I know where you're going with that, Ben. But let's face facts. There's no way I'm going to give someone an opportunity to put something in me that can turn off the switch and just end me like that. You know what I mean? So we are fucked. we keep going in this direction. We are literally
there is no going back, dude.
Yeah, there's no going back.
The analog, the print of money is already done. It's a fake thing. It's the same as baseball cards that are printed on the same card stock. Why is one worth more than the other? It's all a fucking work. And it's about the video game points and credits that you fucking mash up above your little character that walks around on The Sims and it's worth this much. And yeah, maybe a digital thief will steal from you, but those safeguards will be in place after there's a run of that shouldn't happen again until somebody else figures it out a way around. But it's just going to eventually be exactly that of going from tapes and CDs to everything is digital. We're going to get of all physical mediums that we can in order for convenience. And whether it's a chip underneath your skin that makes you feel that way, fine, that won't happen. You can keep a card in your wallet, so we'll give you that peace of mind. But the car you just bought has full GPS and Wi-Fi tracking. So when you're going to the shooting, not only we got you on the CCTV cameras on every fucking one, plus going through the toll booth, but we also tracked your car and your phone and that. So really, at the end of the day, what is the fucking little chip that makes you feel better about money? Because that's what you earn and that's what you need to transact when everything around you is the David Icke 5G prison that we just described anyways. But that one thing is going to make you feel still safe and secure while everything else.
But there's a difference. Like, put it this way. I have the new license. I had to go renew my license, so I have that passport license that goes from state to state.
Real ID.
Right? They have an RFID chip in there. They can track you through your license. Right? Your credit cards have RFID. So if you are on the run from the fucking feds and you use your card, you're getting pinpointed, you're done, obviously. But you can get rid of that shit. Cut it in half, throw it out. Boom, done deal. You know what I'm saying? Something's implanted in your brain and your skin, you're fucked. You're fucked.
I even think a step further, Pop, and you're right, man. But up until really recently, I was just like, it's the microchip. It's the microchip. They've moved past it at this point. I think the microchip is just like a phase, like the Dreamcast or something.
The next thing was to be able to identify people by heart rhythms.
Yeah, I think that's what it is.
The facial recognition is already gone when it comes to biotech of eye scanning. We've already gone to frequency of what your body is making.
The iWatch.
So my point is
exactly.
I get that you want to say like, oh, let's eliminate one of these things, but that's 1 out of 15 ways that we're fucked fully. So it's kind of like we gave all that up and there's no going back. They're not going to give up that control. And I'm not saying get the implant, but we're also fooling ourselves if you think that's the one thing that's going to separate you from the end of whatever it is.
Well, let's not forget if you can't do all that to track somebody down and you can't get them and you can't manipulate them and you can't send a signal to make a Manchurian candidate, just use a fucking deep fake. Just do a deep fake. That's the scariest part of AI I've seen so far, that they can create a narrative to where it's not quite perfect yet, but it's really, really good to where it's like, oh my God, like Jim Carrey in The Shining. I just saw Bill Hader doing an impression of Tom Cruise on, I forget which show it was, but it might have been Jimmy Fallon. It was Letterman. he did an impression of Tom Cruise, and every time he did the impression, it would go in and out of the deep fake. It would be him, but when it quoted, they deep faked him to look like Tom Cruise for the impression. So it's not the full video where from the beginning to the end. Now they can morph in and out like a shifter
It's
type.
incredible.
It's fucking scary.
Wait till we have a digital president of the United States. Wait till that happens.
Wait a minute. We already kind of had, dude. We already kind of. There's been some Obama things. There's been some Obama that have been kind of like looked at as early deep fakes. They've already done the little thing with Reagan where, no, it was Colin Powell. My captors are taking very good care of me. Remember that was the first audio deep fake that they said he was. But who's to say, even before Obama, that famous Clinton one where he looked MK Ultra before that.
Can you find that clip?
Oh, yeah, I have it somewhere. It might be scrubbed. But the Obama one, that's when people started to say that there were two Obamas, not just a body double, but somebody that they on TV they deep faked. They even with Hillary Clinton on the green screen type thing, that was sort of like a deep fake type thing. Remember that thing where it was like the cell phones weren't shooting her up on the stage during her rally? Remember that? How it was digitally put together? Do you remember that famous one?
Yeah.
Where they said, well, looking at the cell phones, the thing that's on the cell phone isn't the stage with the American flag, and there's nobody standing at the podium.
I think I'm kind of looking forward to a deep fake president because I think the SmackDown laptop GM could get,
Well, you know what? You're going to call me crazy, but I think there's two Donald Trumps. I agree with Dick. What was the comedian's name? Dick Gregory, the black guy.
Yeah, that was something we wanted to talk about too on another show, guys. We sent that around. Fortunately, Baba Dick Gregory has passed away, but they're unfortunately before all of his stuff gets scrubbed. We were talking about it earlier with the growing organs in chimeras, but I think that's a far bigger one is the disappearance of minorities from the ghetto and being taken to be chopped up for organs on the black market. Definitely a show we need to cover. I also just watched, and I know you guys didn't want to watch Oak Island. Obviously, it bored Stevie. But the thing I just watched because Stu Stone told me to. I can't believe I missed it on HBO. What's called The Jinx, the Robert Durst story, is incredible. Possibly the best finish I've ever seen.
This bores me.
Sorry. Possibly the best finish I've seen since a BWO match. But no, the best finish I've seen, better than Sopranos, better than The Wire finish.
How many episodes is it?
6 episodes. It's real true crime drama, and it is unbelievable, dude. I rarely get taken aback by anything that rocks me production-wise. It has to be real high level. But the last 90 seconds of this where they fade to black will fucking blow your mind, dude.
All right, don't ruin that.
I'm not gonna. It's called The Jinx. It was HBO.
I'll tell you something that popped me huge.
Years ago.
Cobra Kai season 1.
Yeah, excellent.
Phenomenal.
Excellent.
Phenomenal. One of the not only because 80s nostalgia. I think they blended it perfectly. The writing itself was done tremendously. It was a great show, both cast-wise, production-wise, and I can't believe someone like Netflix passed this up for a YouTube Red. You know what I mean? This was just out of the world. Anyhow, but yeah, I totally believe there's two double Donald Trumps, two different guys.
Well, we've seen it, with even Hillary Clinton. So one could be a body double. That's just implored.
No, I believe there's two Donald Trumps, like the movie Prestige.
Time travel stuff.
Could very well be one of them. Be one for the future.
Very interesting. Let's stay on that theory, and we'll flush it out and possibly for another show as a fun follow-up segment. I'd like to hear more about that. And I'm excited to hear about what's coming up on the Infinite Fringe next, Billy Ray Valentine, this Sunday.
Oh, man.
Well, first off, Billy Ray, sorry to cut you off. I want to apologize for missing this past Sunday. I'm sorry.
Oh, you're good, man. It would have been great to have you, but you're good. Don't worry about it. We'll do it at some point. I have to get you guys on. It would be nice. This Sunday. All right, I'm going to knock on wood. Every time I announce what I'm going to do, It never happened. So if it doesn't happen, don't hold me to it. But Marty Leeds is supposed to be on, and we're going to talk about God.
Can you ask him what happened with the Sandy Hook's Hoke doc? Because I've got it download, but anytime I upload it, it gets fucking flagged, even if it's completely private, taken off.
He took it off. He took all of his stuff off of YouTube, everything, and he put it on his own private server. He still does live streams on YouTube, but right after that, he just puts it right on MartyLeeds33.com. That's all he does. He's done with YouTube. He's done with Instagram. He's done with Twitter. He's whatever.
Good for him.
He's just done with it. So he just takes all his stuff and puts it on his own thing, because YouTube gets screwing with him. He lost his big channel, and he created another channel, and then he just got tired of it, and he's not doing it anymore.
I really talk. Who he thinks is going over as Brock or Seth is who Marty Leeds thinks is going to win.
I'll ask him. I'll tell him to put the numbers to it and see who's going over. Seth Rollins is going over, just in case you didn't know.
I don't think so.
We're gonna have him on, and I just finished doing an episode today with Neil Sanders. It's at neilsandersmindcontrol.com. This dude is intense, intense information, man. It was him. I had Don Jeffries on to co-host with me, and John Brissom came on, and what they did was they concentrated on the right. You know, we do a lot of dissecting of the left. They concentrated on the right, meaning the new the alt-right and the conservative rise in the country right now, and not just in the country, in the world, Brexit and Trump and Cambridge Analytica. But then they went deeper to the Heritage Foundation and all the connections of Neil Gorsuch, of Alex Jones, Laura Loomer, Ben Shapiro. This other cat, I forget his name. The other Supreme Court justice, I forget his name. Not Neil Gorsuch, the other guy that got put on.
Kavanaugh?
What was that?
Kavanaugh or John?
Kavanaugh.
John, what's his name?
Kavanaugh. All these guys, all these. John Bolton. Go down a Red Ice Radio later on, and how they're connected to all of them. All of them are connected, funded by essentially the same people that are trying to push a narrative. And these are the same people that pushed Donald Trump, and these are the same people that created the whole Brexit movement.
Who are these people?
Well, it's the Heritage Foundation and the Council on National Policy. It's the conservative version of the Council on Foreign Relations.
Well, there you go. There's the NWO Black and White and NWO
exactly.
Wolfpack that what do you call it was talking about. Dr. Lang, what's his name?
That's exactly what it is.
What was the guy that sponsored you, Stevie? Dr. what?
Janda.
Yeah. Dr. Janda said there's a civil war with the elites now. So we have Black and White, we have Wolfpack, we have the globalist, IMF, whatever, Councils of Foreign Relations, all this nonsense against the national groups like you just mentioned of the Heritage Fund and the Council of National whatever or another you just mentioned.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, no, exactly say it was an NWO war like WCW. Who might have talked about the silos and the Rothschilds, right? Are those the two factions, Billy Ray?
You know, and it keeps as far as it keeps going. So it's the Council on Foreign Relations and the Council on National Policy, right? There's Bilderberg, and there's this other called the Lesser Cal. It's another thing, another think tank.
Yeah.
These people get together 3 times a year.
CMR
no one knows
versus
about
the
them.
CFR, right? The CMR, when we talked about it last time, that's something we need to look into as well. So plenty of big power elite things far beyond Bilderberg or Bohemian Grove that will give us something to take a look at and expose because, as always, we're 2-3 years ahead of everything. And once that gets exposed, we'll be on to the next one as they rebrand and rechange everything. Stevie, which brands are we pitching this week, man? What's going on?
Well, first of all, we need to stop being sad and pathetic and stooging these people off. How dare we tell the truth, and how dare we say these things because they don't exist. There, I said it. They don't exist because I can say words. I can say words that trump your facts.
It's the kind of believability.
No, you're a Nazi. Stop it.
I'm just trying to be a kind and believable one.
Well, tweets mean everything. That's what I'm getting at.
So basically, you're telling me Comet Ping Pong doesn't exist.
It doesn't. Even though the guy drove by 4 times a day at his job, it doesn't exist.
And the guy who went into that store that doesn't exist with the gun, who was a paid actor who shot up the place in a non-existent place, doesn't exist. So he basically went into an
MC. Have an Instagram with a mentally handicapped 2-year-old duct taped to a fucking table that said,
"No, that doesn't exist." You're making it up. No.
None of that happened.
No.
None of.
Nobody ever picked the kid. Nobody ever provided Uber service for the hot tub for the 7-year-old and the 9-year-old.
None of that shit happened.
And none of the Podesta emails that were leaked were ever questioned because no one ever said, "Hey, those are fake emails." All the information that was decoded by the government, the FBI, and not some tinfoil hat wearing nutto in his mother's basement doesn't exist. Okay.
Yeah. So what were you asking me again, Ben, after I cleared all this up? And now we can move on.
What are we selling this week?
What are we
He
selling?
doesn't sell. You ever work for him? Come on, he don't sell shit.
What am I selling? Oh, I'm not selling. People are investing in the Stevie Richards Fitness program. See how I did that?
Nice.
Absolutely,
12
man.
and 16-week resistance band training programs. Also, the new chair band workout video. I created a page for that with information on that as well. And also the full body workout video, which is pretty challenging, and also the shoulder mobility workout video. Got the YouTube channel, like Papa and I had said in the kind words about Stevie Richards broadcast. Episode 3 that's coming up next week will be on stem cell therapy, and I have David Truitt on. He's working with Matt Hughes, working with Rey Mysterio, Kevin Nash, working with a bunch of people in UFC and WWE on this. And I do ask an entire range of questions, so because I'm not sold on it, truthfully. And then that's some of the things I was talking about with, I've read a lot about cancer patients and other people with leukemia, how it can affect them. And he was pretty honest about a lot of things. He wasn't just rah-rah salesman type thing. So you'll listen to that. Well, this Thursday, it's already up. Episode 2 with David from the owner of the Bigfoot Museum will be up. HackerOnMe.Bobby.com, the audio version. Video version's up right now. And I uploaded the YouTube video where I guess wrestling fans didn't like what I had to say because I didn't stay in my lane.
Yeah, how dare you? I think I got to be honest with you. After watching 3/4 of it so far, I think there's a 15 to 20 episode continuing with you two where you guys looked at different Bigfoot society things and break them down, where he can do his top 20, look at some other cryptids. I think there's a really great series there for you to break out, even if the rest of us are holding you back on getting your own TV show. I think that In Search of with him would be a very cool thing, man. I think there's more opportunity there, a lot left to cover.
Well, the thing is, he has the best problem in the world. The first year they only been open 2 years. The first year they've been open, guys, 33,000 video visitors.
Yeah.
The second year, this past year, 55,000
Who
visitors.
doesn't want to go to this? Like, I am going, like, no doubt about it. I'm making my way down there. Like, it's only going to grow, I think, in my opinion.
But I mean, he's so busy. The thing you want to go to, Billy Ray, is they have guest speakers. And he's going to have the author from the Missing 411 series. That's the guy I'm trying to interview as well, and have David sit down, and all three of us sit down and talk about that stuff. So
Very
I'm
cool.
trying to figure it out. But he's so busy. I would go once a month and just pick his brain. I want to know about the moon. He mentioned the moon. He mentioned all these other things. He's dialed into everything. So it's not just Bigfoot and nothing else.
I mean, we can expand to a year, but I think I'd love to see, this is just me hyping it, is I'd love to see a specific Bigfoot thing, obviously, from there. And it can become his thing. But I think if you were looking to go to terrestrial radio locally there, that could be an interesting show, not just for our stuff, but
The
for
local
their
coast-to-coast AM thing. That's what I'm pitching. Yeah.
So
nice.
That's a great place. You guys had good chemistry. It was a good watch.
Appreciate it.
His mic was a little better than yours, but it's okay.
It was.
It was.
Fuck. What was I gonna say now? Oh yeah, did you guys hear the news that we found hidden galaxies? Supposedly.
Just Tokyo out of nowhere searching, missing stuff, and there's 39 possibly new galaxies to be found filled with Planet stars.
And did you know the galaxy, they're able to measure the galaxy and it's 13 billion years old? How the fuck do you measure a galaxy to make? I can't believe how much made up stuff NASA does and these people take it at face value. It's ridiculous. How can you measure a galaxy, but you can't go back to the moon? Allegedly, because we went to the moon in 1969. Allegedly.
Hardcore, man. Where are you going in 2019 this month? You got anything?
Yeah, the 24th of August, while you're kicking ass upstate, I'll be kicking ass and taking names in Astoria, Queens for Alpha Championship Wrestling.
Nice.
So that would be that. And then that's all I got for this month. And got some other things pending. I'll let you guys know. I think Bumps and Brews might be doing something in October where I might actually get in the ring with fucking numbnuts over there and smack them around. Definitely October 12th, I'll be in Ronin. Don't know who my opponent is yet, but I'll be defending my Ronin championship there. So more things to come on the horizon. But you can catch me tomorrow where we drop episode 22 of the new Force Order, and that's how we intro it every fucking time. And this is a shout out to Ray for life. So that's for Big Ray. He's sitting on top of an elevator somewhere crying because he doesn't have a laptop, but I feel bad for the dude.
I think he got a new one. He said he should be
It's his
good to go.
boss's one. He can only use it for this week or next week or whatever. Some nonsense.
We're trying to get him set up here. I've got a lot going on this week, but I want to take care of him if we can.
Well,
get him.
dude, not for nothing. If he didn't go on those websites, his laptop wouldn't get so messed up. You know what I'm saying?
I got you.
But, he loves that yub-nub porn. But regardless of that, NFO drops tomorrow, episode 22. More hate mail and we address it. More news that came out, more rumors, innuendos, whatever, speculation about episode 9. Things to come on the horizon with Star Wars in a galaxy far, far away. You can check it out on Hami Media Group. You can check it out on Podbean and all the other outlets that we set up the podcast on. You can find me at Greek God Papadon on Twitter, Greek God Papadon on the Instagram, Demetrius Papadon on Facebook. Greek God Papadon is the YouTube channel. And Pro Wrestling Tees / Greek God Papadon is the Pro Wrestling Tee store.
Awesome, man. I was wearing my not New Force Order, my GGP Star Wars shirt yesterday and got a compliment on it. Somebody put out, he's like, who's Papadon? Is that a Star Wars character? I go, he sure is. So it was a good time, man.
Fucking wish.
Yeah, well, soon enough, man. That's something you should be pushing towards too. Absolutely, anybody can get into there, even if it's to die in a scene as an extra. That'd be a fucking bucket list thing. I think you could absolutely make it happen, dude.
Yeah, awesome.
Yeah, where am I going to be? 24th, Immortal. It's time for revenge up there. I'm going to be fighting for possibly a new title in a fatal 4-way match August 24th in Rome as it all burns down around me on usually the hottest show of the summer with no AC, so it should be 95 fucking degrees in there at JFK Arena. If you're looking for it, just go back and to the left. It's an easy place to find. Just a small hole in the wall. And then I'll be the 21st. And 22nd, I'm back on the road in September. The 22nd, I'm at Crossfire Championship Wrestling back there with Congo Kong to settle some scores as well. The 21st, I think, is going to be Immortal, too. I'm not sure if we're going to be in Schenectady, New York, but I plan on probably defending my title around there after I win it on the 24th.
What title is this?
Supposedly there's a Northeastern title coming out, but we'll find out if it's going to be the Planet X or some other title as I rename it. Yeah, you guys know where it is. ProWrestlingTees.com had good sales last month. I appreciate you guys taking advantage of those infidel 4th of July sales and getting the actually I was surprised how many Hameen's Tarp Emporium shirts I sold, so I'm hoping to see one here on SmackDown on the kickoff show here soon enough. Get your Hameen's Tarp Emporium signs ready. We'd like to see those out there as well. As we rib nonstop, the new Russo's brand Raw SmackDown review is out. If you're a subscriber over there, do it. Good Master Shoot Theater. I always have fun with Stevie over there making Vince laugh. And you guys, we're going to keep it locked here. Great conspiracy stuff with Crow 777. Obviously, congratulations again to Infinite Fringe on 100 episodes. The Conspiracy Horsemen. Bello, cancel this podcast. NXT review, all the locker rooms, you guys, the throwback shows, the Impact Attacks, Breaking Sale, New Force Order, new Ha 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 Mean with Stu Stone from Baseball Card Doc. Really great stuff there, you guys. And he suggested to me The Jinx on HBO. So these guys are going to watch, and I'm going to hold their feet to the fire, and we'll all come up together here as we do nothing but positivity, kindness, and believability on your Conspiracy Horsemen infidels. YOLO.